Hello, everybody. At least it worked this time. I got right in. I'm figuring it out, I guess. What's up, guys? 7 o'clock, live stream time. I gotta get my headset so you guys can hear me better. I still gotta set my mic up for like my new mic, but for now I'll wear this thing because I'm comfortable with it. Who do we got in the room? There's 2 people here now. I see 2 people. I don't know if this is deep. What's up, Ray? How are you, sir? I feel like this gets so much wider when I do live streams. What's up, Steph? How you? Oh, I'm also in the lounge position. I'm like, why am I falling out of my chair? There we go. Now I'm standing up straight. Hey, what's up, Dan? Jet Pilot, what's up? I like to see look at this. It's like 7 o'clock on the dot, and I got all my regulars. I like it. Doing well watching on my phone as I close up the gates. My brother has to close up gates where he is, so he's on his phone watching while he closes up his gates. So I saw, I mean, I'll just start talking because we're going to probably repeat ourselves, or at least I will. But I did a double feature yesterday. I saw Shazam and Pet Sematary. Hello, Jay, Dan, everybody. Yep, we got the regular crew. We'll probably get more. You guys are loyal fans that join me immediately. Some people come in as they will. But yeah, I saw Shazam yesterday and the new Pet Sematary. I thought both were really good. I'm more of a horror fan than a DC fan. I love Marvel, but I honestly, maybe Shazam might have been better, but they're 2 totally different movies. So it's hard to judge the 2. What's up, Snow? What the fuck is Shazam anyway? I know nothing, Jon Snow, about Shazam except Shaq. That's it. When I was going to see it, I work with my father, and my father was like, "All right, what are you going to see? Kazam? Isn't that movie with Shaq from like 20 years ago?" And I'm like, "No, Dad, it's a new one that is a superhero." And he goes, "Yeah, but wasn't Shaq a superhero?" And I'm like, I guess in Kazam, I mean, he was a genie, but I guess you could kind of consider him like a superhero. Shazam, Dan, if you're being serious, is a DC character very similar to Superman in power structure, but more comical. This isn't spoiling anything because it's in the trailers. He is a 12-year-old child, or no, 15 years old. I'm sorry. He's 15 years old and has the ability to say Shazam. Literally, you say Shazam, he turns into a 30-year-old superhero with Superman powers. He says Shazam again, turns back to a child. So interesting concept, definitely different than what I'm used to. Will you do a reaction for the new season? Jet Pilot, I'm going to do live reactions to Game of Thrones. I got a new mic and a new camera. Haven't played with it yet, but I will definitely experiment with it and have it set up by not this Sunday, next Sunday when it airs. I will be doing live Game of Thrones streams with my sister, who, if you watch the Walking Dead finale live, she did the live finale of Walking Dead with me. She will be doing weekly live streams of the episodes of Game of Thrones. So I will have a buddy, and maybe every now and then, a lot of my friends want to be incorporated, but I don't trust some of them. They get drunk and might do silliness. So I'm going to experiment with my sister first, and we'll see where it goes from there. Maybe I'll have like special episodes that are like parties and have a couple people. Snow, haha. Oh yeah, that same movie. And yeah, it was serious. Thanks for overview. I just remember the old Shazam TV show from the 70s. I don't remember that. I remember all the other ones. I mean, granted, I wasn't alive around in the 70s, but I still have seen like the older Incredible Hulk, stuff like that. I wasn't much of a DC fan, so I never really paid attention. Was the Shazam TV show a comedy? Because this movie was I'm not familiar with Shazam at all. I researched him before I saw the movie, but it was very funny and very, very comical. Everyone is watching new shit. Meanwhile, I've been catching up on some old films I wanted to watch. I feel ya, Snow. The only TV show from the 70s I watch was Monty Python. Very good. Yeah, there's so much I have watched. I am so behind on watching movies because I have so much TV, and by the time I edit it, I am exhausted between that and work. I am so behind on movie watching that I haven't seen. I can't remember the last. Well, besides the two I saw last night, I can't remember the last time I saw. I'll watch new movies in the theaters and stuff like that. Like I saw Us last week, but as far as like Netflix movies and stuff like that, it's rough. I can't find the time. It was really cheesy, had 3 seasons. The Shazam show. Yeah, it's probably, I mean, I found out, I don't know if this is a spoiler. It's not really much of a spoiler, if any. The I don't read the comics, obviously. I was told that Shazam movie follows very closely to the new comics. Like there's a new Shazam comic that started. I think they said they're only up to issue 4 or 5, and the movie that I just watched follows very closely to that. So if you are interested in the movie or you've seen the movie and want to know more about it, I highly recommend checking out the Shazam comics. I actually researched a bunch about it today because I wanted to see how closely it was related. And there were 2 after credit scenes that I did not understand. Now I do because I looked into the comics. The Wire Snow is going good. I wish I could run through it quick like I originally planned, but between True Detective and Deadwood and me not being able to get Shield Hero to work, I'm actually happy Shield Hero didn't work. Not because I don't want to watch it, because Love, Death, and Robots is actually like a solid pick. Like I am loving Love, Death, and Robots. And had Shield Hero worked, I probably would have never checked it out. I basically was like, Shield Hero won't work. I'm like frustrated. Let me watch this 10-minute skit of Love, Death, and Robots. And they're pretty awesome. So far, I have not seen a bad one. I would say Blind Spot is the worst of the group, but I wouldn't even say it's bad. It's just the worst of the ones I've seen. I'm going to get out, if you guys are watching the Love, Death, and Robots, after I finish the live stream, I'm finishing Suits and Good Hunting. And there was one other, I can't remember. But I'm doing 3 more Love, Death, and Robots. Since it's Friday, I don't got anything planned besides this. So I could get a lot of stuff out that I actually like, that I'm looking forward to doing. And honestly, the Love, Death, and Robots are getting a decent response. So like surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, I love them and so do other people. So it's good. I watched the free Twilight Zone episode they had on YouTube. It was good. It felt like a true. I saw that, right? Thank you for reminding me, because that actually is one of the things I wanted to try tonight, along with the love, Death, and Robots are easy. They're like the longest one's 15 minutes if you cut out the intro and the credits. So I could like bang them out quick. So I might do another universe reaction that someone sent me, and I might do the first episode of Twilight Zone. The only thing that's bad about the Twilight Zone is I had so much copyright problems with the trailer. So if I had that much problem with the trailer, even though the first episode is on YouTube for free, I feel like I'm going to struggle. It's actually deterring me from wanting to watch Twilight Zone because I was all hyped about it. Then I did the old school episode that you guys might have seen on my channel. And then I did the trailer reaction. I had so much problem because I didn't realize CBS owns the entire rights to Twilight Zone now. They might have always owned them, but I figured the old ones are from the 1960s. Why would I have a copyright problem with a 50, 60-year-old show? But I struggled. I had to shave the episode down to like basically it was almost as bad as Better Call Saul. But I still haven't gotten Better Call Saul to work. So at least I got the Twilight Zone to work. But it's like when I have problems like that, it totally discourages me. So I might try the Twilight Zone, the new one. But if I have problems right off the bat, I'm probably going to skip it. I'm so excited for each new Wire. Yeah, season 3, I'm talking about The Wire now, guys. Season 3 of The Wire, it seems like it's starting out with a bang. I like that they didn't waste any time. You jump in, we're having Snow, maybe you could tell me this. I asked it in my when I did the reaction, but I'm not sure if someone answered. I haven't gone through all the comments yet. how much time has gone by since the end of season 2 and the beginning of season 3? Someone said 2 years, but I don't know if it was 2 years from season 1 to 3 or 2 years from season 2 to 3. That could help a lot because they jumped right in. They already got a board going with all the names and the pictures of the guys they're chasing. 1 year since season 2. Okay. That makes sense because someone also said Daniels and his wife are like separated. And I'm like, and Cheryl was pregnant, and I'm assuming they had the baby already. Like it definitely time has gone by. 1 year since the end of season 2. Okay. That's what I pretty much figured. I figured the 2 because there didn't seem like enough time for 2 years from season 2, but it made sense for season 1 because all the stuff that happened in season 2, months and months and months went on. So that makes sense. But I would definitely say I dig that they jumped right in. We already got a board going. They didn't have to waste episodes on people we already know, like Prop Joe, Stringer, stuff like that. So it's rolling out pretty quick. And I dig that. We're not wasting any time. Definitely like the first episode. I see where they're going. I'm very curious to watch that. I'll be watching episode 2 either tonight or tomorrow, have it up tomorrow night. So you will definitely have episode 2 tomorrow night. But it's one of those things like I have a bunch of other shows and I'm digging all of them. True Detective, such a weird show, but I'm digging it. Totally unlike anything I imagined. And honestly, I can't think of anything I've seen that's quite like it. It reminds me a little bit of what is that weird show from the 80s? Twin Peaks. It reminds me of Twin Peaks. Did anyone else that watches True Detective get that vibe? Twin Peaks, total like creepy Twin Peaks kind of vibe. What else we got here? Could just do a watch along since it's free on YouTube. That ain't bad, right? Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll do the new Twilight Zone watch along since it's, what is it, right? Like 25, 30 minutes? Like how long is it? Snow, I still haven't seen Twin Peaks. Believe it or not, being the supernatural, I like crazy stuff, like weird stuff. That's why I'm digging True Detective because I thought it was another cop show. I mean, don't get me wrong, loving The Wire because I don't watch a whole lot of cop shows, but I was like, should I really do another cop show while I'm doing The Wire? I'm so happy I did because this is a cop show in another league. Like it's like not that it's better than The Wire, it's just like totally different. I didn't want to do two of the same things. So I was almost holding off on True Detective, but I'm happy I started it because it is literally like Twin Peaks. And Snow, just to inform you on my experience of Twin Peaks, I didn't see the original Twin Peaks till the new season of Twin Peaks came out, I want to say 2 years ago, 1 year ago. I basically saw the Twin Peaks was coming back for a third season after like 20, 25 years with the original cast. And I was like, this is too good to pass up, but I don't want to ruin anything. So I basically jumped in and marathon season 1 and 2, watched the made for TV movies. Amazing show, but so bizarre. I'm like, it's one of those things where I wish I could have reacted. That's one of the shows I wish I could have reacted to because it is so like batshit crazy, but good. Crazy stuff. Have you seen the trailer for Chernobyl? Jet Pilot. This I totally forgot. I literally saw it when was that? Like a week ago? I had so many trailers and stuff I was doing. I filed it on my to-do list and I totally forgot. It looked creepy. I'm assuming maybe you could answer Jet Pilot. I'm assuming it is a true story of Chernobyl, or is it like a sci-fi spin on Chernobyl? Because I saw images. I didn't watch the trailer, but I saw 1 or 2 images, and it looked horrifying. But I know what Chernobyl was, so it was horrifying. I'm just curious if it is like an Overlord type thing, where it's like a zombie Nazi spin on World War II, or if it's actual thing about Chernobyl. It looks sweet. I hope they don't go off-road include. I didn't read the end of your comment, Judge. I literally am thinking the same thing as you. So I guess you don't know, and we're on the same page because I could see it going like the zombie angle, like Overlord. I think it was Overlord. On your sense, zombies, dragons, or robots? What is that, Ray? What is zombies, dragons, or robots? I'm not sure what you're referring. I watched Twilight Zone. It was a good episode. I feel like the ones. Well, anyway, I'll go back to that. Right. 1 year since the blah blah blah. I haven't seen Twin Peaks. Your chair colors are awesome. Oh, thank you. I actually really dig my if you guys can't see it, but my entire computer setup is the red and black, like my chair. Everything glows. I have like lights behind it. Everything like at night, I literally turn off all, but you guys can't see well. But at night, I turn off all the lights in my room when I'm editing. If you guys might have seen it in the sing-alongs, everything goes off and you can see like, but my whole face gets like red. It looks like I'm sunburned, but I just really dig the red look. It's funny because I have blue on that. You guys can't see, but on that side of my room, everything is blue. I have a blue like massage chair because my back sucks from all the lifting, but blue massage chair. I have blue lights all over there, and it's like I'm a Star Wars fan. My lightsaber is directly in the middle, and this is the dark side, and that is the good, the Jedi side. I know I'm almost 40 years old and I act like a child, but hey, it looks cool. But the funny thing is, I'm not even like I'm more of, I'm not even like a Vader fan or anything like that. I just dig the black and red theme color going on. Really cool. I like it. What do we got here? I'm pretty sure the Chernobyl series is about the meltdown incident, not anything. All right, cool, Steph. So that is one thing I will react to later tonight. I will file this in my thing to do. I'm going to do at least 2 episodes of Love, Death, and Robots. I'm going to do Chernobyl, and I'm going to try to do it was something about the universe of the planets. People really dig those things, and they're interesting. I just can't believe like I think the time lapse of the future has like 4,000 views in like a week. It's probably going to be my highest viewed video. And it was one of those videos where I'm like, should I even do this? Cause like I don't know anything about it. And I'm like, are people even gonna care? Clearly people care, which is cool because it's really cool to see that people take an interest in science. Like that is real. That like it's based on theories and stuff that people have like research and stuff. So it's cool to see that people aren't just all about like Umbrella Academy and comic book stuff, that people really dig science and stuff like that. So speaking of going off road and zombie, has anyone here seen From Dusk Till Dawn? Snow, one of my favorites. I have a poster in my gym. There are 12 posters in my gym, mostly action, probably all action movies. Dusk Till Dawn, personal favorite of mine. Love it. I've even seen part 2 and 3, and there might be a 4. I've definitely seen part 2 and 3. They progressively get worse and more low budget, but they're still like guilty pleasures, kind of like Tremors. I don't know if you guys have seen Tremors. I think they have like 7 of them now. They progressively get worse, but like recently they made a 5th or a 6th, and it was a prequel that had all the original guys and was like a time like took place in the Western times with the guy playing his grandfather. Like they were playing their ancestors, basically, the original actors from the first one playing their ancestors. I thought it was really cool, but really low budget and cheesy. In Chernobyl. Oh, I get you right. I'm sorry. My brother was saying in Chernobyl, what do we got? Zombies, dragons, or robots? I get it. I wasn't sure because we were talking about so many different things. Have you seen Band of Brothers? Jet Pilot? Someone else asked me this a while ago. I have seen Band of Brothers, but I watched it when I was really drunk. I was drinking a good deal. That was one of the shows during one of my binge episodes. And I remember I 100% watched it from beginning to end. I can't tell you anything about it though. I literally like I feel dishonest saying I haven't seen it, but if I reacted to it, it would probably be a genuine thing because I really cannot recall anything. I remember it somewhat being like a Private Ryan thing, but I don't remember any of the actors. I don't remember any of the deaths. I do remember, this is like the only thing I remember, which is odd. I do remember that after each episode, I think the original guys would talk about their experience, or maybe that was at the very end of the entire series. But I recall that because it blew my mind that like how accurately they portrayed the guys. But I don't remember the guys, the actors that play them and stuff. I just remember I could even be wrong about that. Let me know if I'm right about that. But I'm pretty sure at the end, the original guys who are extremely old now are basically giving their true accounting of it. That's all I could really remember taking from that. But like I said, I don't want to be dishonest and say I haven't seen it and then do a fake reaction because I've seen it, just not very, I have no memory of it. What do we got here now? Have you seen Band of Brothers? Dusk Till Dawn, awesome. Yes, very good. Someone told me this could be wrong. I could be totally out of left field because I read so much movie news, but someone told me that they're doing a remake of Dusk Till Dawn or a TV show or a sequel. It might even be out or it might have been out, but I feel like there's something about Dusk Till Dawn that has come around recently. I hate that movie with a passion. First half was great, really liked it, and then the second half comes and it was like, what the fuck is happening here? Are you talking about Band of Brothers, Snow? Is that what you're talking about? Because I don't know if you're talking about Band of Brothers because it was more of like a mini series as opposed to a movie. Not that I'm correcting you. I'm just trying to get straight what you're talking about. Unless you're talking about Chernobyl, but you asked me about Chernobyl, I think so. Oh no. Nah, that's okay. So many things going on in my head when all the zombie shit happened. See, Dusk Till Dawn. I mean, I don't want to knock it, but it is one of those movies that I could totally get people disliking it because it's cheesy and it's basically a horror movie. It's like basically when you get to the bottom of it, it's a horror movie. And horror movies rarely make sense and really don't need to make sense, I guess. But it started as like a Quentin Tarantino type film. I know it wasn't, I forget what I know Quentin Tarantino's in it, but I forget what he had to do with the production or directing. I think it's Robert Rodriguez that did it, but I know Quentin Tarantino had a hand in it. I know he's in it, but it started like a Quentin Tarantino movie, and then the second half was like a B-list horror movie. And I get it, but I'm like a fan of B-list horror movies. But I totally get people not liking that kind of thing. So it makes sense if you're not digging it. I just like the cheesy, gory, like practical effect horror stuff. And that had a lot of practical effects. True. Tarantino Tarantino to me, maybe that's what you're saying, Snow, but Tarantino to me is one of those guys that is horribly good. Like when you see a really bad movie, it's so bad it's good. I feel like Tarantino and everything he does is so bad unintentionally that it's like good because he adds a bit of comedic relief. Like in Pulp Fiction, his character in Pulp Fiction was horribly done in my mind. I think the acting and everything, but like the acting actually makes him look like a dumb guy and actually sold the point across to me. Like, I'm sure most of you like the character. He's in it for very little time. You all know the scene I'm talking about, but he's not a good actor. But his not good acting adds to the movie, in my opinion. At least I think so. But I agree, he is hilariously bad as an actor. Yeah, so most of you do agree with me. I like if you guys hear me talk about a movie passionately, by no means sometime am I saying like this is a masterpiece. If I am talking about a movie, odds are it is 80s cheese or like ridiculous or bad on many notes, but it's like something about it just like makes me like it's like a guilty pleasure, so to speak. Don't get me wrong, there are many movies that are masterpieces that I love. Like I don't know if you guys saw I just did a reaction to Shapeshifters, which was Love, Death, and Robots. It reminded me a lot of what the heck was I talking about? Oh, the end scene reminded me a lot about Gladiator, the movie Gladiator. The music, the way the whole setting ends with with the episode of Shapeshifters, totally a Gladiator type feel. Gladiator, one of my favorites of all time. That is a true masterpiece of a film. I'm really hesitant. I don't know if you guys saw, but they are in production Gladiator 2. And it is supposed to be Joaquin Phoenix's like the his nephew grown up and becoming the next gladiator or soldier or warrior or something. Gladiator is one of my favorite films of all time. And I'm one for remakes and sequels when they're done right. That sounds weird to me. I don't know about that one. Since you like practical effects, did you see the movie Feast and Dog Soldiers? Is Dog Soldiers the one with the werewolves that are soldiers? Because in my reaction to Shapeshifters, I actually said that I seen that movie and I was trying to think of what it was because Shapeshifters is military werewolves that like just kick ass, and it reminded me of a movie. I think it was Dog Soldiers. Feast. I did see that, but I'm blanking on what it was. But I specifically remember that time, unless I'm thinking of something else. I definitely remember the name Feast. Was that like where the thing was growing in like the barn and it was just like eating everything? I think I vaguely remember that. Yeah, Dog Soldiers, Soldiers is werewolves. Yeah, definitely saw Dog Soldiers. I thought it was good. That was another practical effects one. I thought they did a good job. Most I love werewolves. I said that in the reaction. Love werewolves. Anything werewolves, I will see. But most take the same approach and do it cheaply or use CGI. I still to this day think a werewolf in I always get confused. A Werewolf in London, the original one. I still think that has one of the best practical effects for a werewolf. Granted, when he's running through the city, it looks horrible, but like the actual metamorphosis of him into the werewolf, still one of the greatest werewolf transformations. And it's like 40 years old at this point, but it goes to show how far practical effects could go. I literally just watched a show an hour or two ago when I got home from work on looking back at John Carpenter's The Thing, one of the greatest practical effects shows movies I've ever seen. And The Void I talked about last time reminds me a great deal of The Thing. It came out like a year or two ago. The Void, great practical effects, sci-fi horror, but cool stuff. What's your all-time favorite movie? Mine is Menace to Society. That, see, I went through a phase like a couple years back where I watched all like the hood type movies like Juice, Menace to Society, what is it? New Jack City, like basically all of them. I get it's like, and I watched them so many times like in a row that some of them mesh together and I forget which one's which. Like I feel like two of them had Wesley Snipes. I know New Jack City did, but did Juice have Wesley Snipes too or something? Like I feel like Wesley Snipes was in two of them, or I could have just watched New Jack City a couple times and mixed the two up. But your favorite movie of all time? That is, there's so many. It's so hard for me to pick a best movie of all time because, like I said, I love horror, but I love epic like masterpieces, but I like science fiction. It's hard for it depends the mood I'm in. But if I had to throw one up there, I usually if I'm like sitting around and I have to think of a movie that is my all-time favorite, like something I want to throw in and just like bask in its glory, I won't usually go for like an 80s cheese. I won't usually go for a horror. One of my all-time favorite, which a lot of people surprisingly haven't seen, that I have probably watched countless times, is The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. Now that is like maybe obscure, maybe not on a lot of people's lists. I'm going to move over because I'm not centered. Maybe not on a lot of people's lists, but I absolutely love The Last Samurai. I've seen it probably 100 times. It's one of those movies when I was rotating out the Rocky montage when I did workout video, like when I was doing workouts, I used to watch The Last Samurai all the time because it's such like a hyped up film. It gives me adrenaline boost for to lift. But it's like really hard to pick one. I have to say though, The Last Samurai's up in there, Gladiator's up in there. Most of like the epic type films. What else would be on my list? I mean, like I always got 80s classics like Back to the Future because to me that's not 80s cheese. That is 80s greatness. So we got like Back to the Future. If I had to go horror, I would go like probably like Nightmare on Elm Street, like just because like I grew up in the 80s. So I grew up with the slasher films like the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the Poltergeist, uh Hellraisers. So I watched a lot of practical effects slasher. Oh my god, Goodfellas amazing. See, Goodfellas. I was saying this the other day. If you guys saw the Joker trailer, the new Joker trailer, Joaquin Phoenix, blew my mind. I of course I watch all the trailers and I do all the reactions. Honestly, sat in the chair, was like, let me get this over with because I don't want to do this. I don't like that they're making a separate movie about the Joker that's not in the world and blah, blah, blah. Blew my mind. It totally gave me a 90s gangster feel like Goodfellas. Like I'm watching it and like when the cab hit him and he's running through the streets, it looked like old school New York, like the gangster film type stuff. I was really digging it. Joker is now one of my highly anticipated films of it comes out in October, so the end of this year. But after the summer, the main movies I'm looking forward to are It Chapter 2, The Joker now, and Star Wars in December. So definitely great trailer. Whoever made that trailer is amazing. The music, the way they like broke down the character in like I think it was like a little over 2 minutes. Great trailer. If you guys haven't seen my reaction, blew my mind. Gladiator 2 Electric Boogaloo. Yes, Steph. Fan of Sam Raimi's Evil Dead. Sarah, how's it going? I don't know if you just joined us when you wrote that, but Sarah, I think you've watched my other ones. Directly here, I can't show you, but directly here to my left against my wall is Army of Darkness. Love the Evil Deads, but Army of Darkness, I absolutely loved. I don't know what I mean. Don't get me wrong. Evil Dead 1 and 2, they're similar. Obviously, we all know that who have seen it. One is more funny than the others. One was basically serious, but 2 was like a comedic spin on 1. But Army of Darkness, it's one of those 90s cheese fests where like, I don't know, something about the way Bruce Campbell is in that and the way it ends. Like if you watch the alternate ending, I totally dig the alternate ending better than the original. If you guys aren't familiar with what I'm talking about, spoiler alert, but Army of Darkness, which is like 30 years old. So if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry. But Army of Darkness originally ends where he goes back to Earth and he's working the department store in home goods or homewares, whatever it is, and the zombies come back and fight him. The alternate ending, he gets thrown back into a future where everything is like a dystopian, apocalyptic, like everything is gone and done. And then it just cuts to credits and that's it. We never saw the rest again. But that is the alternate ending. So it's not canon. So they made the TV show and all that stuff, which I love as well. Definitely Army of Darkness fan. I mean, Evil Dead in general. So we got his cameos are funny, add to the movie. Yes, I guess we're talking about, let me go back here. Tarantino. Yeah, Tarantino's cameos are funny. Dog soldiers, soldiers as werewolves. Feast was about all the people trapped in a bar and monsters were hunting them. Really fun movie. I'm going to have to, after this is over, I'm going to do like a trailer. I'm going to watch the trailer. I know I've seen Feast. I'm just like, it's like not, I've watched so many of those kind of movies. It's not clicking. Like Steph, you might know this. I watched a movie not too long ago for the first time where they were kind of trapped in a gas station and these creatures were like trying to get in the convenience store and like killing everybody off. And if you watch Boardwalk Empire, Steve Buscemi's brother in Boardwalk Empire, Nucky's brother, don't know the actor's name, was in this movie. And they were like alien creatures hunting them down and taking over the world. All revolved around a gas station. I cannot remember the name, but that was crazy good. And I never heard of it, never saw it. Came out a decade ago. Almost impossible to pick an all-time. Maybe a top 10 list is possible. Maybe. Yeah, like that's the thing. I'd have to definitely do like, if I was going to pick, I'd have to do like a top 10 in no order because I'd have to throw like a horror in, maybe even like, see, even as much as I love Marvel, I don't know if any of those would make my top 10 just because I've seen so much that I've loved every Marvel movie, but it's hard to make a top 10 list. I've literally dissected this once. I have a database on my computer that files everything I've watched. Like I put it in, like I watch this. If I watch it again, I literally like add a check. I constantly just to keep an accurate accounting of what I've seen. It's like over like 15,000 movies and that's individual movies. I've seen most of those twice, some of them a dozen times. So ridiculous amounts of movies. To put a top 10 on 15,000 movies is nearly impossible because I know I'd forget one and hate myself for it. My favorite film is probably Goodfellas. Great performances all around, 100% agree. Pretty historically accurate. And the music was amazing being a fan. One of one of my favorite montages of all time is when Layla plays with Eric Clapton when they're doing the whole, like, you know, the montage I'm talking about from Goodfellas, literally stands out in my mind all the time. When I hear Layla, that's the first thing I think of. And besides the Rocky films, one of my favorite montages in movie history. Best horror movie for me is The Shining. Jet Pilot, The Shining, I definitely dig it. I've watched it many times, but to me, it is a masterpiece. It's one of those movies, like I was saying before, that is truly a masterpiece in every shape and form. But there's so much downtime and quietness that, like, I'll watch that when I really want to just soak it all in. But it probably wouldn't be on my top 10 just based on rewatchability. Like, there's only so many times I could watch it before I'm like, all right, like, I get it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I love it. I love Stephen King. So definitely a great movie, but it probably isn't even my favorite Stephen King adaptation. Believe it or not, and you all will laugh at me, but because I grew up with it and it was the first movie I can remember seeing with my first ever girlfriend, was the miniseries It Made for TV, and it has held a special place in my heart. I know it is bad. Especially the second half. The first half I really dug. The second half, I know it's bad, but Tim Curry is like a favorite of mine. And the whole way it happened and everything, it's just like, I know it's not good. It's by no means the best Stephen King adaptation, but something about it, I've probably watched that more times than any Stephen King movie, but I know it's not the best. The Stand is very good, but it's like one of those movies that hasn't aged well. Like, if you, and it's also 6 hours long or something like that. Someone told me they're remaking that. I hope they do. And I hope they do a good job, because I would not mind. I don't care if it's 8 hours. I'll go see parts of that. What do we got here? Best horror, Goodfellas. Yes, definitely top. Goodfellas, good. I don't want to miss any comments. Tough because you can rank your favorite masterpieces and also just movies you love. Exactly, Dan. That's my point. I have to make like guaranteed masterpiece top 10 and my personal favorite two as like rewatchability. It's hard to just, I mean, you have to be so specific with lists. It's hard to do. If I had to pick a favorite horror, this is Steph. If I had to pick a favorite horror, it would probably be The Fog or The Thing. The Thing, amazing. Probably on my top 10 horror movie list. I have to say definitely, probably, definitely, probably. The Thing is amazing. I've seen it 100 times. Love Kurt Russell. Love Keith David. And we got Wilford Brimley's in it. There's like a lot of guys in that. I can't remember the other guys' names, but they're in a lot of stuff. Great, great movie. Practical effects. It has it all. It has the cast, the story, the ending. I will say this. The Thing is probably one of the best, like, ambiguous type endings of all time. There are some times in movies where I hate when they don't give you answers, but there are certain times where they do it so well that you just can't help but love it, because you will think about it till the end of time. And that is The Thing. The Thing has one of those endings where you're just like, what is it? But the way it happens, where they're just like, he's sitting there. I don't want to ruin it. Well, it's 40 years old. At the end, it's Kurt Russell and Keith David sitting there, and they're just like, are you an alien? Are you an alien? Well, we're just going to either freeze to death or kill each other. So let's just wait it out and see. And it goes to black. For all we know, 5 minutes later, a helicopter could have landed and saved them both, and they're good. But we don't know. For all we know, they're both aliens. Well, they can't be. Well, no, they can't be both, because then they wouldn't question themselves. But it's just, it's amazing. Session 9, very good. Steph saw that. Here's a loose top 10. Tell me what you think. Oh, there we go. Goodfellas, Pulp Fiction, Godfather, 12 Angry Men. That's one I still got to see. Snow. I think you told me about that last time. Brazil, you told me about last time. Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings trilogy, Apocalypse Now, Airplane. Airplane, probably on my top 10 comedies. So Snow, out of those, I would probably say Goodfellas, Back to the Future, probably one of the Lord of the Rings, mainly. I don't know, the two. I wasn't a huge fan of Fellowship of the Ring, but obviously you need it to establish the story. Love the Two Towers, love Return of the King. I would say Return of the King was probably the best, just because it's so epic, but Two Towers had a lot of crazy fights too. but I don't know if they'd be in my top. They probably wouldn't be my top 10, but it definitely is close. But Goodfellas would probably be in up there. Back to the Future is probably in there. Terminator 2 is probably close, but like I said, to make it just 10, Terminator 2, one of my all-time favorite. Probably my favorite Schwarzenegger films, Terminator 2, True Lies, and Predator. Probably my top 3 Schwarzenegger films. But they're literally, if you guys are fans of AVGN, who is the angry video game nerd, he just did a throwback to The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and in it they do their top 10 Schwarzenegger films. It is shocking how many there are, like good ones. Like, mind you, some of them are cheesy. He always has cheesy one-liners and stuff, but like Commando, Predator, True Lies, Running Man, Total Recall, just to name a few, like they're all so good. I know I'm missing a million of them. I just like they're he was the king of the 80s with Stallone, and they like almost everything they did was action magic, but cheesy and ridiculous. But Airplane though, one of my favorite comedies. It probably is on my top 10 for comedies. Airplane's amazing. I watch that all the time. Airplane, such a good movie. Leslie Nielsen. I've said this in past ones. Leslie Nielsen is one of my favorite comedic actors, and just the fact that he started as an opera singer blows my mind. Joker looks brilliant, by the way. Read somewhere this fall, Netflix original, The Irishman. Yeah, directed by Scorsese. Robert. Yeah, 100%. Dan, I will watch that as fast as I can. It is all of our old time favorites: Pacino, Pesci, De Niro, Keitel. Scorsese's making it. I was surprised unless ugh, I was surprised unless it is not a spoiler, but unless they're holding it back. I'm surprised Ray Liotta isn't in it. Unless, like I said, they're hiding it or holding it back. Because Ray Liotta, granted, was only in Goodfellas, but I feel like having Ray Liotta back with those guys would be epic. And what is Ray Liotta doing? He's doing like, I saw him the other day in like a car commercial or like a vodka commercial or something. Ray Liotta ain't doing anything. The Shining, very good. Also, Steph Splinter. Thank you, Steph. Splinter. Steph. Oh, I can always count on you. Splinter. I feel like Steph's watched more movies than me, or as many, because Steph is my go-to. Like when I can't think of anything, you are the knowledge I have, but I can't think of. Splinter was a great science fiction movie based on aliens. They're trapped in like a gas station convenience store. Awesome. If you guys haven't seen it, while I'm thinking of that, the reason I got recommended that was because of the movie The Mist. The Mist is probably my favorite Stephen King adaptation. The movie as a whole is like not the greatest thing, but the way that movie ends, I will not spoil that one, because if you haven't seen it, I recommend you all go watch The Mist right now. The way that movie ends, that might be on my top 10 endings list with The Thing, because the way The Mist ends, you are just like, what? And the ending is totally different from the book. And also, Stephen King has admitted that it is one of the few or only movies that he thought was done better than his book. Something to that effect. That or the only ending of the movies that he thought was better than his book, or something like that. But Stephen King has self-admittedly said that The Mist movie was amazing. Love it. And it's got Thomas Jane as the main guy. Punisher, the original Punisher with Thomas Jane. One of my guilty pleasure comic book movies. I love Thomas Jane. Splinter, great list, Snow. Yes, Snow, that is a good list. It's definitely, put it this way, I'm not disagreeing with your list, Snow. There's just a couple I would put above them, but they're still all amazing, except Brazil and 12 Angry Men. I still need to say, Apocalypse Now, Saw, great film. That is a cinematic masterpiece. All the House movies were some good. Ray, that is a good point. I don't know if you guys have seen the horror movie franchise House, but they are cheesy and horrible, but amazing. Specifically part 2. I highly recommend, if you watch one, they're out of order. You don't need to see them. I mean, they're in order, but you don't need to see one to appreciate the others. Honestly, 2 is totally different than one, totally different people. It's just the same house or something like that. So you definitely don't need to see them in order. You could see any of them at any time. Highly recommend you see House 2 first. Great. If you see House 1 is all out horror and gore with a little bit of jokes. House 2 is basically a comedy movie with characters you'll recognize. I'm not gonna. It's got Cliff from Cheers, is in it? Just random '80s people, but you'll definitely recognize a handful of them. And it was such a campy horror. But you're right, right? Great, great movie. Layla montage is one of the favorite scenes of all time. Yes, it is. What do we got here? Godfather over Godfather 2. Both are great. Sarah, what do you think? Godfather or Godfather 2? I gotta say Godfather 2, which most people say. There's like the old question is what sequels were better than the originals? And everyone always goes to Empire Strikes Back, Godfather 2, and T2. Those are the three I always hear. If there was a sequel better than the original, but a lot of people do take Godfather over Godfather 2, and a lot of people do take Terminator over Terminator 2. A lot of people think the original Terminator had that dark quality that you need in a Terminator film, whereas T2 was basically a phenomenal sci-fi action film and it's my personal favorite of the series, but I totally get why people will like Terminator 1 better. So I could see those being debatable, but in my mind, Empire is hands down the best Star Wars. I don't know. Is it the best? I would say Empire is definitely better than the original. I would say Empire is probably the best Stars. I'm going to go out on a limb here. Sometimes Return of the Jedi, depending on the day you ask me, depending on the day you ask me, Return of the Jedi sometimes might be better than Empire, solely based on Ewoks and Jabba the Hutt. Jabba the Hutt and the Ewoks are probably two of my favorite additions to the original trilogy. And I know the Empire Strikes Back movie is better as a whole, but Return of the Jedi's characters just do so much for me that I can't. Sometimes I might say Return of the Jedi. I have, and my brother can verify this or vouch for it. I probably have 40 Ewok stuffed animals in my attic. Like I have a ridiculous amount of Ewok stuff. I have all the toys, all the stuffed animals. I have the movies and cartoons on DVD and Blu-ray. I am a huge Ewok fan. It also came out when I was 5 years old, Return of the Jedi. So as a 5-year-old, Return of the Jedi Ewok stuffed animals were probably like equivalent to like Care Bears or something at the time. Godfather movies. I haven't seen The Thing in years and I only saw it once. I need to rewatch it. Great movie. Definitely rewatch it, especially if you don't remember things. Steph, good calls on The Fog and The Thing. See, I got to rewatch. There's an example. I got to rewatch The Fog, Steph, because honestly, I definitely saw it. Isn't The Fog the one where like the pirates, like it's like a pirate crew, like the fog is coming in and like the dead pirates are like fighting the townspeople. I don't remember if I saw the original or a remake or a show that was based on the movie, but I think that was the premise. Both amazing. Speaking of John Carpenter, my favorite, absolute favorite, Escape from New York. Very good, Dan. Not one of my favorites, but definitely a good Carpenter film, Escape from New York. It's very odd. It's like kind of like Big Trouble in Little China. I guess you each have your own likes and dislikes. I would say Big Trouble in Little China is like my Escape from New York. A lot of my friends dig Escape from New York better, but Big Trouble in Little China was like my Kurt Russell John Carpenter 80s flick that I loved poster in my gym. But Escape from New York was good. It's just like I kind of took sides. Like Escape from New York isn't good because Big Trouble in Little China is the greatest thing ever. Don't get me wrong, great film. It's just I've always been a bigger favorite of Big Trouble in Little China. The only thing Fellowship is missing is Gollum. Yeah, Gollum was in the other two, correct. Yeah, I feel like Fellowship and a lot of people make fun of this. I feel like Fellowship went too far with the walking. Where like I think they just like granted they did great story building, but I feel like they just focused too much time on the walking and everything. But I mean, I can't hate on it because you got to build a story and you got to have like something to go off of. Everything has got to start like that's why I'm really digging season 2 coming up of Cobra Kai. they basically did all the story building in one. So I expect season 2 of Cobra Kai to be like all out craziness. What do we got here? So Gollum, I love all three. Yeah, all three are good. Snow. All three are very good. I mean, periodically, I think around Christmas, they air all of them all the time, like a marathon. I always watch it. I mean, I don't pay attention to every minute because it'll be like 9 hours altogether, but I definitely watch them all the time. Lord of the Rings movies, I watch all the time. Vikings, have you seen it? Worth checking out. Jet Pilot, right before I started reacting, I think it was like right before Christmas, probably October, November. I had never seen Vikings and I marathoned all 5 seasons. I have not seen the second half of the last season because I marathon everything up to where they were in like November, I want to say. And I forget if it was a mid-season break or a new season started, but I am not totally caught up on Vikings, but I have seen the majority. Jay needs to do a top 100 list in no order and no questions on love, masterpiece, or critically acclaimed. See, I dig like the top lists, but I did like a top 10 Marvel list, and it took me 8 hours probably to edit it all up and do it. And like 30 people watched it. So it discouraged me from wanting to do more top 10 lists or top 100 lists because I invest so much time into it. And I didn't feel like a lot of people cared unless it was just because it was Marvel based. Maybe a lot of you guys don't dig the comic book stuff. So like a strictly Marvel based top 10 just alienated a lot of you. And I could see that. But like, I think I did it like a month ago and I checked it recently and I think it's got like 35 views. So based on that, it's discouraged me from wasting like it takes me a half a day or a day to do it. So it's just a lot of time invested with, and I try to focus on things you guys like the Love, Death, and Robots. I'm loving them, and I see based on the response, people are loving them because I think I have 5 or 6 out right now, and not even a week up, and they're averaging like thousands of views each. So that is one of my most successful ones, and I trying to get more subscribers, trying to build the channel. So I will do things that get a better response, but at the same token, I absolutely love Death and Robots. Great show. Very well done. Totally took me by surprise. True Lies is good. Love that one very much. True Lies. I haven't seen The Mist, but I know the ending. Yeah, The Mist. Ooh, The Mist. That was one of those that like I don't even think I cried. Like you will probably cry at the ending, but I honestly think I didn't cry because I was literally just like like did that really just happen? But you know it happened, but you're like what? Oh, crazy stuff. Apocalypse Now is like top 5 for me. Maybe even top 3. Brutal film, but it's totally 100% agree, Snow. If I had to do a top 10 of cinematic masterpieces, Apocalypse Now would probably make the list. Like I said, it's not one of those rewatchable, like it is a rewatchable movie, but not like hey, I'm off from work today. I feel like watching Apocalypse Now again and eating some popcorn. It's like you need to be in the mood for it. But I will 100% agree. It is a cinematic masterpiece on every level. Like I've watched the making of, I forget, maybe you know Snow. There's a making of Apocalypse Now called something. I have it. I just can't remember the name. I've watched that and they talk about how deep the method actors went and how crazy the filming was and how like it reminded me it reminded me of the Game of Thrones when they're talking about the Battle of Winterfell recently, how they're doing like a month in the grit and the dirt and they're filming this battle. When they talked about that, it reminded me of what I saw on Apocalypse Now, how they were in like the shit and like dealing with all that crap. 100% agree. Escape from New York is amazing. What's your favorite movie of 2019 so far? Favorite movie of 2019 so far? Now, are we talking movies that came out in 2019 or movies I've seen this year that I had never seen before that might not be? If I'm going strictly based on 2019 films, I haven't seen a lot of new ones. I'm trying to think of what I've seen this year. I mean, in all honesty, Us might be, as far as 2019 goes, Us might be one of my favorites just because I think I haven't seen a whole lot this year. I'm trying to think of what else came out. Shout out some movies that came out this year that I might have seen. I mean, it's one of those things where people are like, yeah, but if you can't remember it, then it obviously wasn't good. But I've also just seen so many freaking movies. I'm trying to think of all I can think of is the movies I saw yesterday, Us, Captain Marvel, which yeah, like, see, I think Us, but mainly because I'm more of a horror fan. I think Us did it for me more than Captain Marvel. Definitely better than Shazam and Pet Sematary, but none of them were bad. All four of the ones I just mentioned were all good. I would just say Us was probably my favorite of the bunch, and it's only barely April. Granted, in 2 weeks, Endgame comes out, probably my favorite. I mean, I just saw people at WonderCon or some convention going on. People are talking about they saw, if you guys want me to talk about it, I will. But they were talking about a special footage that only they were shown of Endgame. And the guy said there was a 3-minute scene they showed that basically like explained the route they're going in the first 20 minutes. Now, it is definitely a spoiler, so to speak, but I'm not positive if, I mean, he's obviously telling the truth, but he could also be a trick. Like Marvel does tricks. But based on what I heard, it sounds really good. But I guess for 2019, I have to say Us. If you guys have seen good ones this year, let me know what they are. And if I've seen them, I'll be like, oh, yeah. A lot of them are Netflix movies and stuff like that. Do they count? Because The Dirt was really good. Honestly, The Dirt from Netflix, the Motley Crue movie, that might be my favorite of the year so far. That was really good. But like I said, I don't know what counts as a movie. What's up, Jess? I see you. What do we got here? Is Escape from New York the one with Kurt Russell? Yeah, Escape from New York, Kurt Russell. Have you seen Alien Raiders? Surprisingly good lower budget sci-fi movie, not as great as Splinter. Steph, that one I've never even heard of. And I love alien movies. Anything dealing with aliens, supernatural, like high sci-fi, definitely gonna check that out. Alien versus Aliens. Is that Alien versus Alien? Oh, Alien versus Aliens, the movie. I thought you were talking about a movie, Alan. Alien versus Aliens. I would say Aliens 2 is better. That's another one. I would say I think Aliens 2 is better than the original. Both phenomenal. But personally, I think Aliens 2 was better. I think I saw Escape from LA. Oop, where did that go? I got to start catching up to comments. I think I saw Escape from LA lots of years back. Remember it good. Yeah, that was Escape from LA the one with Steve Buscemi? I think so. Or was that Escape? Yeah, Escape from LA with Steve Buscemi, where he was riding in the Cadillac along him when he was surfing. Cheesy as hell, but funny. Original Escape from New York is Kurt Russell and is a masterpiece. I have the soundtrack so iconic. Russell is badass. I prefer Return of the Jedi. Thank you, Snow. I have a lot of people that are on board with us. But like I said, sometimes I'm like, here's the thing. Return of the Jedi is goofy good fun sometimes because of the creature creations and stuff. Like Jabba's cracking jokes, the Ewoks. They have the Sarlacc pit monster where Boba Fett supposedly dies, where I heard he didn't, but like, I don't know. The books went that way. I don't know what's canon in the movie world. But the Return of the Jedi is definitely more kid friendly and cheesy, I guess, where Empire is like probably a masterpiece. But, and that's where we meet Yoda the first time. Empire's got its moments. It's very hard to pick a favorite of the two. But the Ewoks do it for me. Mostly nostalgia, though. I remember watching it constantly as a kid. Exactly. That's what I kind of getting at, Snow. Return of the Jedi was like a kid nostalgia for me as well. The Mist movie ending is different, definitely better than the novellas. The novella just kind of meanders its way to the end with no real resolution. Yeah, that's what I heard. I never read the book. I only remember watching comparisons of the ending, and I know what the ending is in the book, and like that's where I got it from. I never read the book The Mist. I've read it, The Stand, a couple others, Pet Sematary. I've read all those. Some of them get graphic and weird and are totally different from the movies in some aspects. Best dead pirate movie ever. So The Fog is a dead pirate movie. I definitely saw it, but it's one of those I might have to rewatch because it's been a while. Never read The Mist, but that movie ending, though, loved it. Yes, Mist, phenomenal. I most remember Fellowship for yet another traumatic Sean Bean's death. Yes. Oh my God. That is a good point, Steph. Sean Bean's death as what was his name? Boromir. Boromir, that was that might go down as one of the saddest moments I could recall death scene wise. It might go down in my top 10 deaths. Boromir, because he reminded me of like one of those guys that like the whole movie they're kind of making you want to hate him, but he's a badass, but like he's got attitude and he does things his way. But when Boromir dies at the end, and the way they film it, the slow-mo with the arrows where he's just like poof, and then he's like, I think he says something or he reaches out for them and they hit 3 arrows. That was actually one of the trivia questions in movie the Schmodown the other day. How many arrows strike Boromir? And I knew it. If you didn't know, it's 3. Ewoks, there are very few Ewok fans out there. Love them too. I am told that the first movie I ever saw was Return of the Jedi at a drive-in. I am jealous, Sarah, but I was a baby, so I'm not sure if I forgot. Yeah, I don't. I'm guessing you don't remember, but I am jealous. I would have loved to see Return of the Jedi in theaters or drive-in, especially. That would be awesome. Maybe that place the guy told me about, my cousin told me about that place that's the drive-in theater in PA. Maybe I'll get lucky and they'll do one of Return of the Jedi. That'd be amazing. Probably hard to do though, especially now that Disney owns the rights. It's probably impossible to get something like that going. Vikings is one of those shows that everyone praises, including my dad, who has good taste in TV, but I haven't seen it. Snow, I gotta say, I watched I think it was 5.5 seasons because I think I watched up to mid-season of season 5. I think I watched it in a month. I was binge watching a season a week and they are phenomenal. But I feel like it's one of those shows, like people have told me, like The Wire. It's hard for me to do this with The Wire because I got to edit it up and stuff. But people told me it's very similar to The Wire, where I watched Vikings, binge watched it. They said that if you don't binge watch Vikings, some episodes are like leave you wanting and like are like kind of like just filler that are unnecessary. But I guess because I watched them like boom, 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 I didn't really notice that because like if one episode seemed like filler, I would just blow through it and start the next one and it kind of all meshed together. So I could totally see it being a binge watch, but phenomenal show. Love the characters. If I had to compare it to something, I would probably compare it to like, honestly, this is my comparison. I think Vikings is like a 1,000-year-old Sons of Anarchy. Sons of Anarchy, one of my favorite shows of all time. You guys might see sometimes I wear the shirt and stuff. Love Sons of Anarchy. I feel like Vikings is like Sons of Anarchy thousands of years ago. That's what I can compare it to. Same kind of brutality, same kind of like attitude. What do you think of Star Wars future episodes? Star Wars future episodes. I honestly, because J.J. Abrams has taken back over for Star Wars in this next coming one, I thought Force Awakens was amazing. I thought Rogue One was amazing. I thought the Solo movie was really good. I wouldn't call it amazing, but I thought the Solo movie was really good. Did I want a Solo movie? No. Do I think they should have made one? No. But I thought it was decent. A lot of people hate on it because it's very similar to the Joker coming out, origin story. People are like, I don't want to know the Joker's origin story. The biggest thing about the Joker is that people are like, we don't know why he does what he does. A lot of people felt that way about Solo. A lot of people were like, I don't want to know Han Solo's why he got his name, where he came from. He is a sassy badass, and I just want to keep it that way. And a lot of people got mad because it's like, the reason is, if you haven't seen it, spoiler, but the reason he got his name was for a ridiculous reason. He was just like the guy just gave it to them. It was like, I don't know. I could totally see people hating on it, but the movie as a whole, I liked all the new Star Wars I've liked. The prequels are on the bottom of my list, but I still dug them. But they're, in my mind, they're almost not even Star Wars films. I know they're directly connected. Obviously, we got Obi-Wan and everything, but something about the prequels, they just seem like a different trilogy to me. And I dig them and I like them, but they're definitely at the bottom. All three of them, bottom of my list. The only one that might jump ahead is I didn't really like The Last Jedi. Didn't hate it like some people, but I didn't like how they killed Luke Skywalker supposedly at the end. Some people are saying he's not dead now, but he looked like he died in the end. I didn't like that at all. I definitely dug the last battle where he's the hologram and everything, but like the movie as a whole, the only one of the prequels that might jump is the Revenge of the Sith might go above Last Jedi, but the prequels 1 and 2, bottom of the list. I don't know. The whole Anakin thing as a kid and like the pod racing and stuff, it was cool looking and stuff, but like it was like in another world to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bitter Star Wars fan, but I still like them. I don't hate on any of them. I don't hate on even Last Jedi. None of the Star Wars movies I hate on. And Rogue One is in my top 3. I would say Empire, Return, Rogue One. I'm not even kidding you. Rogue One I absolutely loved. I thought Rogue One was like it was a Star Wars story. So it was like on its own, which it was. And I absolutely loved Rogue One. Went off on a tangent, a Star Wars tangent. You guys, when you mention something I really am passionate about, like Star Wars, I go off on a tangent. Are we making a season 2 review for The Wire? Hope you enjoyed it. I was wondering that myself, Sarah. I noticed a lot of people don't dig the like my season 1 review, my top 10 characters. I'm definitely going to do it. Don't get me wrong, but I kind of like delayed it because I noticed not a lot of people watched the season 1 characters and the season 1 review. Like I don't know. I maybe people just want to see the reaction or whatever. I'm definitely going to do it, but that's why I haven't rushed it out because part of me was like, well, it didn't look like a lot of people jumped on the first one, but I definitely want to do it. And I definitely want to give my thoughts and ideas. But I also realized from watching episode 1 before, I mean, yeah, season 3, episode 1, I've realized that I think we're done with the dock workers unless they pop up randomly here and there. I think we're done. And I said so much about them. And like, I like doing season reviews when like, it's like, well, let's see what the dock workers are up to next. But being as I don't think we're going to see them again, I almost was like, is a review like needed? But I'm definitely going to do it. We'll see. I'm going to make a video. We'll see how much I could talk about it. If it comes out to be good and stuff, I'm definitely going to do top 10 characters, but that's another one. My top 10 characters, half of them are probably never going to exist in the show again, but I'm definitely going to do it just to show you guys where I see them fit. Like I was watching somebody react to Game of Thrones the other day, and it's a simple. I'll give him a shout out because I watch him all the time. His name is Simple Reactions. He's a younger dude. Looks like he's in college. It reminds me of me, but like a younger version. He's always wearing a hat, but he doesn't have a beard or anything. But he's always wearing a hat, and he kind of does similar reactions to me. But he's been around years, maybe. I've been watching him a while. He's doing Game of Thrones rapid fire to catch up because he wants to catch up for 2 weeks from now. He has literally blown through like every season in like a month, doing like one a day or something like that. But he has a top 10 list, and his top 10 list blows my mind. He has had Lord Bolton, not Ramsay Bolton. He has had Lord Bolton at the top of his list for, I want to say, since he appeared for seasons now. So those of you that watch Game of Thrones, think about that. He is literally, of all the characters you love in Game of Thrones, Lord Bolton, I don't even think about. And we know what happens to him. I won't spoil it, but to like Lord Bolton through seasons and seasons as your favorite of Game of Thrones blows my mind. How do you like Lord Bolton? First off, to me, he's not even a great character. He's an okay character, but to make him your favorite above characters like Dany and Tyrion and Jon Snow and Arya and like even Jaqen H'ghar. Jaqen H'ghar is in my mind way better than Lord Bolton. Blows my mind that someone could have Lord Bolton as their number 1, not just for one episode, but for like he's going on like 2 or 3 seasons now. Some guys that are amazing aren't even on his top 10. I'm not mocking the dude because your preference is your preference. It's just my point is that I'm going to do a top 10 of The Wire because some of you might be blown away by my choices and might be blown away by your choices, but that to me is one of the most outlandish things ever, that Lord Bolton could be your go-to favorite character in all of Game of Thrones. Crazy. I cannot wait till he gets to the episode next season that Lord Bolton What do you okay. I heard Us is very disturbing. Us is very disturbing. I would say Pet Sematary, which was I was supposed to talk about, and I still will if you guys want me to. But I would say Pet Sematary was far more disturbing than Us. But Us was disturbing. Best chase scene. Just want to catch up. Best up. Where'd I go now? Oh my God. I think I'm like way behind on comments. Best chase scene. I'll get back to that one, Ray. I'm going to try to catch up. Piques my curiosity though. Best chase credit cards. Best chase credit card scene. Gotta go. Can't wait for more Wire. Jet pilot left probably already, but Jet pilot. See ya. See ya, Jet pilot. I predict my favorite movie of 2019 will be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Definitely, definitely looking forward to that. I could see it being a favorite of mine. I could definitely see it being the most favorite out of the bunch I've seen so far. It has potential to be the best I've seen. I think Endgame might be the best, though. I mean, I've heard from these critic reviews, I've heard Endgame. People have already seen it, guys, and they're saying it is like, and I'm not talking like people that are paid to say it or people involved with it, but I have heard that Endgame, like a few handfuls have seen it and they're like signed to secrecy, but they were allowed to say their thoughts. And people were like, you have no idea. If you thought Infinity War ended on a bang, they're like, you have no idea what you're in for. So based on that, I'm expecting Endgame to shock me on like to no end. I've got an answer that people will laugh at, but go back and watch it. Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he steals his bike back in the end at the movie studio. Tim Burton showing what he's got. Tim Burton showing what he's got. I've got an answer that people will laugh at, but go back and watch it. Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he steals his bike back in the end at the movie. I know this. I know the exact scene you're talking about, Ray. Tim Burton showing. Are you saying? Wait. Oh, that's right. I believe you're saying that Tim Burton. Oh my God, I know what you're talking about. Yes, yes, yes. When Pee-wee's dressed as the nun, I know what you're talking about, right? Tim Burton. I can't believe Alan came out in 1979. Oh, Alien. I keep seeing someone's laughed at Alan, and then someone else wrote a comment about Alien. Came out in 1979. It feels very late 80s to me. Yeah, I mean, Alien was good, but definitely thought part two was better. Need to watch that movie again. Such a classic. I've recently, when Covenant, Alien Covenant came out, I think that was the last one. Whatever one had, what's his name? I always forget the dude's name. The guy that directed it, Covenant. He's the comedy guy that's in the James Franco movies. I always forget his name. But I think Covenant was the last one. When Covenant came out, I marathoned all the Alien movies, including Prometheus. Prometheus, I'm not kidding you guys. Alien 2 is my number one, but Prometheus might be second. I really, really like Prometheus. I think it is cinematically a masterpiece. Anything Ridley Scott does, Ridley Scott's movies are cinematic masterpieces. The Blade Runner 2049, the Alien movies, Prometheus, like Ridley Scott knows how to direct a film. For some reason, people just aren't watching them. Like Blade Runner 2049 did horrible. Covenant did not good. I don't know if it did horrible, but it didn't do good. Blade Runner 2049 was like a $250 million budget. And I don't even think it broke even. And I thought that was amazingly done. I worried about that one. Blade Runner 2049, I was like, they should not be making this. Blade Runner is a masterpiece. Blade Runner should not have, I thought they were going to ruin it. They blew my mind. And Harrison Ford coming back, quality. When I was a kid, Return was my favorite, but as I got older, I could see that because Return is more for kids. I could totally see you like an Empire Allen. Hello, Sarah, Jet, Bill, Ray, and Alan. Hi, Pam. Clap, 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 clap. That's a good vid to make top 10 deaths. Top 10 deaths. I could see top 10 deaths. T2 is fire. I agree. Top 10 deaths would be awesome. I might try to do that. Maybe I'll do top 10 deaths because that pretty much focuses on all genres except romantic comedies. Oh, I don't know. Maybe some romantic comedies had deaths. Hi, Steph. Hi, Pam. Sons of Anarchy is a modern day Hamlet. I would agree with that, which would kind of explain why I made the connection to Vikings. I dig it, Bill. First chest buster scene in the original Alien was great. Death scene, pretty real reactions from the cast. Now, Ray, you don't probably even know this, Ray, and Ray is my brother, but Ray probably doesn't even know this. I saw Spaceballs before I saw Alien 1. I had seen Alien 2 already, but I saw them out of order. I think I saw Alien 2 randomly with friends. Alien 1 I had never seen until after I saw Spaceballs. So when I saw Spaceballs, I was like, what the hell is happening at the end of this movie? I loved it. And I thought it was great. They all check, please. But when I saw Aliens 1, I'm like, holy shit, that's what they were referring to. I mean, I kind of figured it was from Alien because of the way it was, but they actually had the guy from Alien do it and everything. I was blown away by that. But that is something most people can't experience, witnessing the reference from Spaceballs before the original. I didn't do it intentionally, but I mean, I'm kind of happy I did because it's so much cooler watching it in reverse. I think there's many things I've seen, many references in movies I've seen where I'm like, oh, I get the reference, but I'm like, I feel like that reference would have been so much cooler if I didn't know and then later on found out. I love how they got John Hurt and Spaceballs for yeah, I see you guys are on the same wavelength as me. So the great grandfathers of anarchy. Vikings is the great grandfathers of Sons of Anarchy. How about Bill and Ted? Definitely love Bill and Ted. There, I did a whole video on the third one coming out and how I did a trip in the limo. My father took me, and I believe my mother was there. I don't know. Was my mom there? I believe my dad took me and all the guys. I don't think any girls were there. I think it was like me and like 6 or 7 of my close guy friends and Pops. I don't even think my brother was there. Were you there, Ray? Ray, do you remember being there? I don't think you were there either. I think I don't know. You were young enough where you probably should have been, unless you were hanging out with your friends. I mean, I was 10 or 12, so you were still not driving, still home. It wasn't like you left the house at 14. I love how they got John Hurt. So good. Yes, Ray. They can't. The cast didn't know it was going to come out in the stomach. Oh yeah. Oh, I did see that. Yeah, the cast didn't know. It was kind of like just like thrown at them for effect. Something else happened recently like that. There was a movie I saw where they were saying they didn't warn the people that this was going to happen. Something was going to happen, and it like shocked the hell out of them and whatever. But I can't remember what it was. But it very similar to that. But let's see where we got here. Ray, Sarah's saying to Ray, hi, yes, epic bike chase with the golf carts chasing him. Classic. Oh, because Ray's saying about best chase scenes. See, that's a comedic one. I was thinking more along the lines of like Jason Bourne, have really good car chase scenes. Mission Impossible, Rogue Nation, phenomenal chase scene. Rogue Nation, I don't know. That was like, I watched them out of order too. I watched Fallout. I think it was called Fallout. What was the new Mission Impossible? Whatever the newest Mission Impossible is, I don't know how, but I skipped Rogue Nation. I love all the Mission Impossibles. Somehow, uh, Rogue Nation got by me, and I watched the new one, which I think is Fallout. Loved it. One of the better ones, maybe the best one. I absolutely love Fallout. Loved it so much. I was like, holy crap, I missed Rogue Nation. Went back and watched that. One of the best car chase scenes I've ever seen. It lasted a long, long time. What do we got here? Rogue One was actually my favorite. I like the others also. See, that's my sister Jess. She is saying Rogue One was her favorite. See, that's a cool perspective. My sister is 10 years younger than my brother and 8 years younger than me. So she grew up I think she was born in 89. Yeah, 89. So she was born after the original trilogy came out. I was alive when Empire, oh no, Empire came out in 80. I was born in 81, but I grew up, I was around it, and Return of the Jedi, I was like a little kid. So it's interesting to see the perspective of a younger person, and she dug Rogue One better. So I mean, Rogue One's like my third favorite, so I get it. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Snow singing the song. Dig it. Totally dig it. That was like the WB Frog in the CW commercial when they had CW. Was that called CW back then? WB. Yeah, no, it was called the WB, and they had the singing frog. Rogue One was enjoyable. The others I could give or take. Yeah, the Rogue One, I mean, Rogue One was a masterpiece in my mind. Force Awakens, I would probably say came next out of the newer ones, and then Solo, and then Last Jedi. mm, no, it wasn't I mean, it was cool, but I think they had a lot of wasted time. I dug the Casino Planet, but I think they wasted too much time on the things that ran around. I don't even remember what the hell they're called. But the tauntaun looking creatures from Empire Strikes Back, I don't know. I think they focus way too much time on on them, on the love, the romance between the Asian girl and the stormtrooper guy. Why can't I remember his name or her name? I don't know. All I know is I think they just wasted too much time. I dug the characters, but they focused way too much time. And then the way they ended it, I just didn't like if Luke Skywalker really died, which people are saying he might not have, that JJ Abrams is like literally said in an interview, I could do whatever I want. So basically JJ Abrams could do whatever he wants. Maybe he'll bring him back. But if he doesn't, and that was the end of Luke Skywalker, how do you kill Luke Skywalker out with the and end his saga with a fake hologram lightsaber battle? Like, really? Like, it was cool, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't real. How do you never have how do you like have him go into hiding for 30 years or however long it is, and then he is sitting Indian style and vanishes? Ugh, ah. Jar Jar is a Sith Lord and no one will convince me otherwise. I love that theory. I've seen that theory done many times by people. Jar Jar as a Sith Lord is hilarious. I definitely dig it. There is this human phenomenon where you hear something is amazing, food, movies, etc., and you end up being disappointed and let down. Whereas if you just saw it without bias, you would have liked it. I totally dig that phenomenon. It's like people raise expectations, stuff like that. I totally get that, and I could see that. Liked it more. I had this with Black Panther, let down a bit, and opposite with Solo. Heard it was so horrible, and it ended up being a good movie. Liked it more. I had this with let down a bit. I agree, Dan. I am almost afraid to ever mock Black Panther because Black Panther got so much praise about being the greatest Marvel movie. People call it the greatest movie of all time. I highly disagree with that. Black Panther is probably, if I did an MCU movie list, I did a Marvel movie list, which incorporates 45 movies. MCU is 22 movies. If I did a list, Black Panther would barely crack the 20. It would probably be like maybe around 15, 16. Wasn't a bad movie. None of them are bad movies. But I thought the CGI fight at the end looked horrendous. It was so dark, you couldn't see them. They're basically identical characters fighting in identical ways. The whole thing to me was just like, for people to call that the greatest movie ever, or even the greatest Marvel movie ever, blows my mind. When people were freaking out about it even getting nominated, honestly, I think that it's insulting to get nominated. And that might piss some people off, and I'm sorry, but I'm speaking honestly. I thought there was at least 10 better Marvel movies, just Marvel MCU movies. I thought there was at least 10 better Marvel movies in itself that didn't get nominated for Best Picture. And for it to get nominated for Best Picture when it had such horrible CGI and stuff, like, I don't know. Maybe I'm going off on a tangent and some of you dislike me because of it, but I'm just speaking honestly, not hating on it. I just don't get it. Roose Bolton is a great character, honestly. Snow, I totally agree. Roose Bolton is awesome. I dig him. Roose Bolton might be one of my favorite villains, but to make him your number, we're like, just at it. Too bad he was poisoned by his enemy. Snow, just out of curiosity, where would you put Roose Bolton? I loved him too, but I'm guaranteeing you wouldn't have him in your top 10 overall character list. Like Roose Bolton, he's great. He's probably on my top 10 villain list because I'd consider him a definite villain, obviously. And they definitely did good story building and stuff like that. But Game of Thrones is the show of characters. It has more than any show I've seen. It is like the MCU, like the Infinity War of shows. Like there is just 100 characters. Roose Bolton is definitely not the best in the show, and I don't get it. Roose Bolton better than Daenerys? No, Snow, I would agree you there. I'm not one of those people that is on the Daenerys bandwagon. I dig her, and I think they're doing all right with her, but I think she like I don't like the way she ruled a lot of the places she went to. She's definitely got attitude and she's cocky, but I dig her. I definitely dig her. I don't hate on her, but I would say Roose Bolton is better than Danny, but I will fight you if you'd like. No, I'm just joking, Snow. But no, Danny's not on my top 10. If I had to do a top 10, Roose isn't, or Roose Bolton isn't, and Danny's not on my top 10. And I would say Roose Bolton, if we're doing overall, because he's not alive, but if we do overall, I would say Danny is probably my favorite. I mean, Roose Bolton is a more favorite of mine than Danny. Dude probably likes flayed men. Oh my God, that scene. When did the flayed men happen? What was the first episode we saw the flayed men? That's season 6, right? I don't think we saw them in season 5 yet. I'm trying to remember. Actually, maybe we did see them in season 5 because that was when Theon, they ran away. It might have been season 5 before the great Jon Snow finale that broke hearts and then redeemed. You know nothing. I like it, Dan, making the whole Jon Snow comment to Halany. How do am I saying Halany Snow? Is that how am I pronouncing it right? Halany Snow? Or is that Hal in I Snow? I never know because sometimes people like break it down and I don't realize. Like there was a guy named It's Kevin Martin, and for the longest time I was like, it's Kevin Martin, and I thought that was like one word. Didn't realize it. Number 1 is Ziggy calling it. You know nothing. Number 1 is Ziggy calling it. Yeah, you know that ain't true. Ziggy might be my favorite, my most hated. Ziggy is probably fighting for the number 1 spot in most hated characters of The Wire. Love Gendry. Gendry was a favorite of mine. Definitely did Gendry. Love that he came back. Logan from Simple Reaction. Oh, his name is Logan. That's who does Simple Reactions. Really gets into his top 10. I think his top 10 is more about the characters who do the most and not necessarily about who he likes the most. Oh, okay. I sometimes I'm one of those people that sometimes I just blow through the reaction and I like cut short when he's talking because sometimes he does a lot of talking. Sometimes I do too. But I get when people like cut it short. I did not know that. So that makes a little more sense if he's doing his top 10 based on what characters are doing and involving themselves in. Howling Snow does know how that rhymes. Haha, poisoned by his enemies. Wink. Ant-Man versus Thanos : confirmed. If you guys haven't seen that theory, the theory is that Ant-Man will jump up Thanos's butt and then grow to a large size and explode him. Somebody, I think it was Aldo Snow. See, you guys got me thinking Snow now. Aldo Jones. I think it was Aldo Jones. He does a lot of mashups and like funny trailers where he takes the trailers and dissects them and does stuff. I think it was Aldo Snow actually has a video up of Ant-Man going up Thanos' ass and dancing inside and then blowing him up. It is pretty funny, but also kind of gross, but good. Be nice, Dan. I don't know why I said be nice. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, my mom doesn't watch game. That's my mom. Pam is my mom. If you guys didn't notice the last name, she hasn't watched Game of Thrones, so she has no idea that was a reference. To be fair, it did come out in 1979, talking about Alien, I guess, unless that's a coincidence. His name is Snow. He is talking about Game of Thrones. Jon Snow, most famous meme. You know nothing, Jon Snow. Thank you for explaining it to her, Dan, because I would have later. Anyway, see you later. Thanks, Jay. Dan, if you're still there, peace. Sorry I didn't say goodbye. Night, Dan. Have a good one. I'm still trying to catch up, guys. I think I got a lot. I think I got to bring a friend too. Wait, I skipped. That's why I skipped. Night, Dan, blah, blah, blah. Not the biggest fan of the original Blade Runner, to be honest. Liked 2049 more. Honestly, I don't know. It's a toss-up. I'm not kidding you. Blade Runner, the original, is like a masterpiece. And I was like almost not even going to see 2049, and I would struggle to say which one's better. So definitely can't dispute that, Snow. I was there. I think I got to bring so my brother was at the Bill and Ted limo trip when we saw Bogus Journey, Bill and Ted Part 2. If you guys are new to this, my sister wasn't born yet, but Or if she was, she might have been like an infant. That might be where my mother was. I don't think my mother went because my sister was like 2 years old and she probably stayed with my sister. But my brother was there and brought a friend. Hans Gruber's death was similar in that he dropped him early and then expected him early. Oh, earlier than expected. Yes, yes, yes. Hans Gruber, that might be on a top 10. That might be on a top 10 death scene. Hans Gruber. Oh, and then Simon Gruber, his brother from my favorite Die Hard with a Vengeance. Die Hard with a Vengeance is my favorite Gruber movie. My sister, born in 89. My brothers have trained me well in movies. I love Gendry too. That's a response to my sister. I think Godfather trilogy is the best. Definitely can't disagree, mother. Godfather is a duo. We don't speak of the third one. He. True. I mean, the third one, yeah, the third one is I don't know though. Snow, what do you think? I know you're saying Godfather is a duo. We don't speak of the third. I'm guessing you don't like the third then. I didn't hate the third one, but it is totally in a different league when you talk Godfather. It is never spoken of. The main scene that everyone always goes back to is they took me, I got out and they pulled me back in, that whole thing. That is from the third movie. Everyone always brings that up. Every time I think I'm out, they pull me back in. I think that's the line. But that's pretty much all you take from the third one. And Scorsese's daughter was in it. I think Scorsese's daughter played Al Pacino's daughter, which was basically like, here you go. But she did good. She was good. Godfather Original is my favorite movie. I watch it every time I see it on and I'm not busy. The thing with Godfather is I think 2 is better, but they're the type of movie you got to be in the mood for. So if it just randomly shows up on TV, I might not watch it, but I've definitely watched it my share of times. But I would still say Godfather 2 is my more favorite of the 2. 9 days till the premiere of Game of Thrones. Can't believe it's almost here. Talk about the longest wait ever. I know. I am quite excited. Gonna do the live streams of Game of Thrones with the new equipment. I might in the next, like probably a couple days before, I might do an experimental run just to make sure I got my equipment down and stuff like that. But definitely doing live reactions with my sister to Game of Thrones. 2 weeks or 9 days, according to Sarah. Very good. And then we get Endgame a week later. This month of April is going to be insane. And Cobra Kai comes out the night before. Oh, that's going to be rough. I just realized Cobra Kai season 2 comes out the night before Endgame. And I have, oh, that's not bad. I have 6 p.m. tickets. So I can probably watch some of Cobra Kai and then get my rest in later. But so much, the month of April, so much. Daenerys. All right, where we got Daenerys would be nowhere without Jorah. True. Jorah might be on my top 10. I love Jorah. Jorah Mormon, he is such a good character. He has had such an arc, though. He has gone from like the top to the bottom, back up to the top, then like somewhere in the middle. Jorah is amazing. I'm so excited to see him again. Godfather is a classic. I like Daenerys, but I love the dragons. Oh, I love the dragons too. Who doesn't like dragons? They look so cool. I'm trying to think of something else that made dragons look so cool besides Game of Thrones. Like, I think Reign of Fire with Matthew McConaughey, for the time, I think Reign of Fire did a fantastic job with dragons. One of my favorite dragon type movies. I've watched Reign of Fire a couple times. How could you beat it? Matthew McConaughey, Christian Bale in one movie together before Christian Bale was even like a thing. Sarah and we get movie length episodes. Oh, I liked it. Yeah, we get movie length. Oh, you're saying we get movie length. I thought you meant you and Sarah only got movie length episodes. Yeah, they get the episodes of Game of Thrones are going to be extra long. Definitely. I think they said the first couple are like an hour and then the next are like an hour and 10 and then the last are like an hour and 20 minutes. So definitely extended. It's a made up name, so there is no right way to say it. Hee. Daenerys, yeah. Stephanie. Oh, that's to Stephanie. Dragons, definitely dragons. Were we here? Jessica, I can't wait for Arya and Gendry. Yeah, I'm wondering that too. With Arya and Gendry, how many of you think Arya and Gendry will end up together? I'm thinking yes, but we also have never seen. Have we seen Arya have a love interest yet? Have we seen Arya like actually show like any sort of romantic connection to anybody? I don't think so, right? I mean, maybe she kind of. I mean, you could kind of say she had a thing for Jack and Hagar, like one of those kind of things, like almost a love for your teacher kind of thing, but she wasn't like in love with him kind of thing. Same with Cyril Farrell, who I think is Jack and Hagar. I'm one of those guys that's riding that bandwagon until someone tells me otherwise with 100% proof. I think Jack and Hagar this entire time has been Cyril Farrell. I've actually done a video on it. If you guys want to look, type in Game of Thrones, is Littlefinger dead or something like that? I think Jack and Hagar is not only Cyril Farrell, but I think he is possibly Littlefinger and possibly Rhaegar Targaryen. It's a crazy theory, I know, but I like to theorize, and that's where I'm going with that. But I don't know if I believe all of them so much as I do that Cyril Farrell and Jack and Hagar are the same guy. Whoop, whoop, can't wait. Yeah, that's one of my biggest hot takes. Not really a big fan of the original Blade Runner. Totally. I get where you're coming from with that. Blade Runner 2049 and Dread were criminally underrated. Dread, definitely. I saw Dread not in theaters. I saw it like years after it came out. The remake of Judge Dredd called Just Dread. Amazing. Some people were talking about pitching the idea towards, I think they're either making a TV show or a sequel. But Dread was definitely criminally underrated, Alan. Dread was fantastic. Totally agree. Lena Headey doing another great villain. Yes, totally. How many hats do you have? 1,000,000. You just guys only see this hat, but I have many hats. If you look on my wall over here where you can't see, I have 3 hat racks with 6 hooks on each. There are 18 different hats that I periodically wear. You guys only see this one because this is my stereotypical Saints fan hat, aka now Viewmaster's hat, but I will change it up eventually. But I have many hats, probably 50 to 100, literally. Francis Ford I said Scorsese. I meant Francis Ford Coppola's daughter's in it. Sophia Coppola was in it. He directed it. She's great. I'm sorry. Got it confused with Scorsese. Thank you, Bill. He is 100% right. It's Francis Ford Coppola's daughter was in Godfather 3. Sarah, if more dragons die, I riot. I don't know, guys. What do you think about dragon death? I think we're going to have I think the ice dragon is going to kill one more dragon. I think they're going to like take each other out and one dragon's going to be left. Christian Bale is such an amazing actor. I like to dissect girls. Do you know I'm utterly insane? Oh, that is a quote, guys. Podrick is a fun favorite for Game of Thrones. Yeah, I always loved Podrick. Podrick, obviously he's not a favorite, but he never does anything bad, and he is a lovable guy. He always means well, always helping out the crew where he can. Podrick is a good dude. Definitely dig Podrick. She gets off on killing people now. Yes, she does. I believe you're talking about Danny. If you aren't, I'm sorry. If you were to ship 2 men who you like to the end up together, if you were to ship 2 men who you like to the end, Dennis, you talking about Game of Thrones? Christian Bale is fantastic. I really hope the Littlefinger is alive theory is true, as do I, because it's a theory I've been following, and I would love for my theory following to be correct. Back when Arya and Gendry were at Harrenhal, there's a little scene where she's checking him while he's shirtless, but she's changed so much since then. Back when Arya, I do vaguely remember that now that you pointed that out. And that's right. Yeah. And when she was younger, she kind of, when he was like, when the whole thing was happening where they thought Arya was a boy and he's like, I know you're not a boy. And she was like, go pee, then come out, pull it out and pee. I feel like they were having like a little, I mean, maybe not so much Gendry because she was like a little girl. So that'd be a little creepy, but I could totally see her having a crush on him. That's right. Totally right. Very good, Steph. Season 7 was all over the place, but then that theory would make it so much better. I agree. I see it. I mean, it all adds up. If you guys don't know the theory me and Snow are talking about, check out my video or check out other videos. There are a lot of theories on Littlefinger being alive, and it all kind of lines up. I mean, if you want to, you can make any theory line up, but there's nothing I could see that strongly disproves it. And there's a lot of things that back it up. So let's see your hat collection. I can't show you. I'd have to move the camera, Dennis. But when I get, I'll tell you what, when I actually get my camera, my new, like the new camera to do the stuff and I have it all set up, I will do I'll be able to move it around. It's just, this is glued to my TV. Well, not glued, but it's fixed and I don't want to move it around and disrupt my feed. I don't think we have seen that with Arya, but I hope Gendry and her do meet up. I think Steph is right though. I think we did see little Arya crushes, but not so much Gendry. But now Arya's older. She's a cute girl. I mean, how old is Arya now? In the show, what is she? 15, 16? Is she old? I don't know. How old is Arya in the show right now? Like when season 8 starts, how old will she be? I just think there's no way he would have stayed in Winterfell after Bran did that chaos is a ladder thing. So I firmly believe that he's alive. That's a good point too. See, Snow, I never even thought of that angle. I was thinking of everything else, but he was spying on the girls. That's a good point though. Having seen that Bran has the ability to foresee the future, that is a good point. That why would you stick around? Littlefinger is smart. I didn't think of that angle. I mean, I knew he was freaked out by it, but yeah, why would you stay? And then we saw the whole scene where he like met the girl in the barn and showed her the coin that looked like Bravos and could have switched places. I'm still riding that theory. A Littlefinger theory would be crazy. My money's on all the dragons biting the dust by the end. I wouldn't be surprised. I think they might keep one alive, or maybe do we know how the dragons how do they procreate? Is it possible that all the dragons die and they have new eggs they leave and we get a new batch of baby dragons to end the show? That'd be kind of cool. No, I think that'd be cool. I mean, I don't want to see the dragons die, but I could see them killing them off and then having new baby dragons. That'd be cool. Vote Sabatka. Jory, I totally agree. Vote Frank Sabatka. That is a reference to The Wire, if you guys aren't aware. Loved Frank Sabatka. He was running for the head of the Union. The dragons probably do all die, probably all the direwolves too. That is one of the aspects of Game of Thrones I am very much looking forward to. I don't read the books, but I have heard that in the books, spoiler alert, that in the books, there is an army of direwolves that is amassing in the woods that is run by, what is the direwolf that is Arya's? Someone tell me the direwolf that is Arya. It is Lindemir, or I feel like it's Lindemir or something. Nymeria. Thank you, Snow. Nymeria, that is it. Nymeria in the book supposedly is amassing an army, and supposedly at the end there's like, I don't know if the show's going to go this way, because up until the scene where we saw Nymeria come back and Arya noticed her and she had a pack forming, I was like, that's never going to happen because there's too much they got to focus on. But the fact that they showed Nymeria meet back up with Arya and that she was already forming a pack, I really think they're going to go that angle. And I think that would be amazing if like Winterfell's about to fall and like a pack, like 1,000 direwolves or like animals just come surging in led by Nymeria. I think that'd be amazing. However, if that does happen, I feel like all of them are dying. I mean, who's left? Nymeria? Who's left of the Stark children's direwolves? Nymeria, and I think one more, right? Jon Snow's Ghost. This Ghost is still alive, right? I think we got Nymeria and Ghost. I think that's it. I think the rest are dead. The hot pie that was promised. That's good. I like that. The hot pie that was promised. Hot pie, the chubby man that made her pies. Very cool character. He's a cool dude, but not very much in it. Everyone will die by the end. Only hot pie will remain. I'm wondering who will actually make it to the end. Seems like everyone is going to die. Maybe I'm just setting my expectations for death and destruction. Don't want to break. Sarah, I do not blame you. If you set your expectations to disaster and it doesn't happen, you will only be happier for it. I honestly, I reacted to the teaser trailer that came out a couple days ago. Maybe it was last week. I don't know. But they show a lot of items. If you guys didn't see the teaser trailer, there are no words spoken. All we see is Bran's wheelchair broken, Daenerys's chain covered in blood. We saw Arya Stark's needle, her sword, thrown in the ground. At the end is Jon Snow's sword, Longclaw, bloodied up in a pile of snow. And then in the distance, you see a silhouette of what looks just like the Night's King walking into Winterfell. I don't know if they're just teasing us or that is real, but it looks like the Night's King is going to destroy Winterfell. And we are either going to lose a lot of characters or at least have them bloodied up and hurt. But Bran's shit was hurt. Like all the main characters had basically artifacts destroyed and stuff. Crazy stuff. Hot pie on the throne at the end. We can only dream. I mean, he'd be a good ruler. We'd all be fat and merry with pie. My dad has a theory that the Walker will win and all living things will die. Honestly, that theory is at one of the. If I had to make a list of theories, I could see the Walkers winning being at the top of my list. I could see them going dark, like very dark, like Endgame. Like most movies and shows sum it up on happy notes. There are a few that don't. I've known, I can't even think of any off the top of my head that end on a sad note, but Endgame might do that. And so might Game of Thrones. That would be crazy if two of the most epic, like 10 years in the making of Game of Thrones, if you count the breaks, even though they're on season 8, I'm pretty sure it's about 10 years of Game of Thrones because they took like an extra year off in between somewhere. And Marvel is in like their 11th or 12th year with the cinematic universe. Can you imagine if both of those, we've waited a decade plus, and if both of those ended on ominous, horrible notes? Now, Marvel is going to have the other phases and build from it. But Game of Thrones will have prequels and stuff like that, but it could end on a truly horribly ominous note. My dad, blah, blah, blah. The dragons cost enough to make. No way the show is going to drop more. Yes. Oh, yeah. See, that was someone else, Alan saying, will they drop more money on an army of direwolves? Someone else said that too, that it's already so expensive that to have that kind of scene with dragons and packs of direwolves and everything else going on, we're going to have giants and White Walkers and zombies. It just might be too hard and too expensive. And I could see that happening. Yeah, I was typing the exact same thing. All the magical creatures are going to die. Sniff, sniff. Yes, Nymeria and Ghost are the only two direwolves left. That's what I thought. My biggest disappointment in the recent Game of Thrones episodes, honestly, is that Varys is becoming much less involved in the story. I agree with you. I mean, he was one of my favorites from the beginning. I agree with you. I loved Varys. I loved the whole thing. We saw the wizard trapped in the box. Like, did we ever? I still think we've never seen the outcome of that, correct? Snow, let me know if I'm right. Did we never see the outcome of the wizard, or did he say something in passing that explained what happened? I don't remember what happened with the wizard that Varys had in the box that cut his parts off. But Varys, they were building up such a storyline. And then when Melisandre had the other lady in red whisper in his ear what she heard and stuff, I feel like he's going to be important in this next season. There's just too much that's left unsaid that they kind of have to explore him more. My death predictions: Cersei, Jaime, the Hound, the Mountain, Qyburn, Euron Greyjoy, Theon, Beric, Jorah, Grey Worm, Tormund, Varys, and Melisandre. Cersei. See, Jaime, I think is going to die. Cersei, I think is going to die. The Hound and the Mountain, either they're both going to die or one is going to come victorious. I'm almost positive they're doing the Clegane Bowl, guys. So one of them is either going to win and might live on. The Mountain is definitely kicking it. Well, he's kind of already the Walking Dead, but I think the Mountain's kicking it. Whether or not it happens in the Clegane Bowl, I think the Mountain's done. The Hound, we've already been teased once by his death. I don't know. The Hound out of this group so far, the Hound I'm on the fence with. Qyburn, I could see dying. Euron, I could see dying. Theon, I could see Theon dying and his sister taking the like maybe he'll save his sister and Theon will die. Maybe he'll redeem himself. Maybe Theon will sacrifice himself to save his sister and his sister will carry on the family name. I could see Theon dying. Beric, I could see Beric dying. Or I could see living. Just because Beric has died so many times, but now he doesn't. No, I think Beric will die because now he doesn't have the other guy to bring him back to life. What was that guy's name? What was the guy that died last season always brings Beric back to life? I love him, and I'm brain farting on his name. Love that guy. I hated that he died. Thoros. Oh my god, it's so good. What did it? Thoros of Myr. That's what I was gonna say. What was his full thing? It was Thoros of Myr. Oh, he was such a good character. I love Thoros. He literally was just like drinking all the time, like life, like shit's bad. The world sucks. I'm just gonna drink, but he was a badass fighter and a good dude. He like basically sacrificed himself for Beric. Plus, I think either Jon or Daenerys will die. I don't feel like both of them will be alive by the end. I agree. I don't think. I don't know. I think Daenerys is definitely dying. Jon, I'm on the fence, but I could definitely see him dying too. The Azor Ahai kind of thing that they always talk about, where it could be the prince that is promised, could be Jon or Daenerys. Could see it going either way. Not going to debate that. Out of your list, I would say the only ones, I think Varys is going to die. Melisandre's going to die. The only ones, Grey Worm, I think will die. Jorah. Out of your list, I could see Jorah living, Tormund living, and Cersei living. Nah, I don't know. I don't see Cersei. I mean, they might make Cersei live just to piss us off. But I think I would agree with 90% of your list, Steph. Disney isn't going to let that happen. HBO might. Yeah, that's a good point, Alan. Disney might not let it end on a dark, ominous note, but you do got to remember that they are making more phases, so they could always recorrect it or redirect everything. But HBO could do whatever they want, and they could be dark. They don't have to worry about pissing people off or anything. We haven't. He was probably torturing him for months. Yeah, so Snow's talking about the wizard that Varys locked up. We have never seen what happened to him. That happened so many seasons ago. How did we not go back to that? One of my favorite scenes. I agree. When they revealed the wizard in the box, I'm like, oh my God. It reminded me of when you see the White Walkers in like the first episode of season 1. And then like years go by before we're even hinted to them again. And then more years go by before we see them in battle. Like that's how I felt about Varys and the wizard. What do you think the White Walkers want? Killing everyone seems too simple and boring to be their only motivation. Sarah, I have said this. I don't think I did a video about this, but I've said this many times to people in conversation. I 100% think, I mean, I might be wrong, but this is me. I think that the White Walkers want Craster's baby. Now, if you guys don't remember, Craster's Keep, Sam and the girl took the baby away that was supposed to be left for the walkers. I legitimately think that they are walking north to find this baby, and that when when they find it or they confront it, they might be like, all we wanted was the baby and just like peace out. Like, as crazy as that sounds, but now maybe they're just pissed off and they're going to destroy everybody. But I honestly think that Craster's baby being taken, they feel cheated. I literally feel like the White Walkers feel cheated. Like, you made a deal and we can walk till no end. We live forever. We are super powered, and you made a deal with us and you took our baby, and we are going to show you how pissed that made us. As crazy as that might sound, I literally think that Craster's baby is what started it all. Maybe they won't end it now. Maybe the White Walkers will just trample over Winterfell and take down everybody. But I honestly think that Craster's baby is the cause. I hope it doesn't go this way, but I think the Walkers will win. Totally see that, Jess. Probably one of the theories I think will win. Wizard is hanging out with Ilaria. Oh, hanging out with Ilaria. I couldn't. I was like, what is that spelling? I hope Theon doesn't die before he finds out that Ramsay is dead. Sorry, I had to clear my throat. I know I have water around here. Oh, here it is. I was going to say, I purposely brought a water bottle in so I could clear my throat. Sorry, guys. Theon doesn't die before he finds out about Ramsay. Yeah, I can see that. I definitely agree with you there. I would like Theon to at least get some sort of satisfaction that he died getting eaten by his own dogs. Ramsay, I remember thinking back when Joffrey, I was like, worst villain ever. Like best villain ever, but worst. Like, you know what I mean? Ramsay trumped him, I think. I think Ramsay is, but I didn't hate on him like I hated on, like when Joffrey walked on scene, I'd be like, get out of the scene. I want to strangle you. I hated Joffrey with a passion. Ramsay was a terrific villain and I despised him. But when he was on the scene, I like couldn't look away. I'm like, what's this crazy bastard going to do next? So totally different. But I would say Ramsay takes the cake as the best villain in Game of Thrones, except maybe the Night King. But I mean, Cersei's really good too. Cersei is manipulative and evil. I mean, they got good storytelling in this show. John dies, but not before getting Danny Preggers, and then it's Incest Bowl Part 13. I almost missed that. Targaryens be like that. Totally agree. But I mean, they did show them have sex right before the finale, so I totally could see John and her having an incest baby. I don't know if they'll have Incest Bowl Part 13, but it could be. That would be kind of crazy if they showed like a huge time jump at the end and like they showed that would be cool. What would you guys think of that? What would you think if they basically did out like say Jon Snow wins, but then they do like a 50-year time jump and it's like their children running shit and we see how everything goes. I don't think that's going to happen. That seems too happy and jolly for my liking. And I don't think the show will go that angle. I don't think we need a time jump and stuff like that unless they're shooting for more TV shows. If Danny dies, I figure it'll be a child at childbirth. There is no way she's not pregnant this season. They dropped too many hints. I agree. I totally could see that. That's how they kind of ended the last season. I totally see that being the point. I haven't even thought about that. It would honestly be amazing. What do we got here? Targaryens. Oh, with the pregnancy thing. What is the White Walker's connection to the children of the forest again? The White Walkers, right? Well, let me read the rest of the comics because maybe people answered you. Are they the same? Maybe blah, blah, blah. All that shit for the baby. It's going to end up with Qyburn inventing a condom. I honestly, children essentially created the Night King. Okay, Alan's explaining it. Children essentially created the Night King who created White Walkers. Yes. So that is the explanation. As far as Qyburn, I heard a very interesting theory on Qyburn. I never thought of it like this, but Qyburn is a mad scientist. We know that. He created the mountain. The mountain sort of looks like a White Walker. People are like, what if Qyburn creates something that can control the White Walkers? See how Qyburn controls the mountain? What if he's figured out how to harness the dead? What if, like, they attack, like, say they take down Winterfell, everyone retreats, and when we go to King's Landing, everyone's got to unite. We got Cersei, everyone together, the Lannisters, everyone fighting the Golden Company, everybody. And Qyburn is basically comes out and is like, guys, I've been holding this back, but I have this tool. That's how I've been controlling the mountain. And he could shift the whole thing on the Night King. Granted, the White Walkers will still be like attacking, but what if he could, I mean, not the White Walkers, you know what I mean? Or I do mean the White Walkers. Certain ones are probably untouchable, but the ones that the Night King, when he went like, at Hardhome, those people maybe quiet, like what if he blows a whistle and it's like a dog whistle and it has a sound that's how he controls the mountain? Or what if reverse that? What if the Night King can snap the mountain out of it and spin him on them because he's dead, he's kind of dead. So I don't know. I was going on theories like that, but I could see Qyburn coming up with some kind of some kind of technology that controls the whites that the Night King rose. Crazy theories, but I theorize a lot. Joffrey was just a sadistic, dumb child. Ramsay is a cold, sadistic psychopath who is pretty smart. Agreed. Haha, the White Walkers grabbed little Sam from Gilly's arm, and the Night King turns and nonchalantly says, "Thanks, we're all good here." Like, see, that's where I think, like, that's where my mind goes. But I think now he's just so pissed that it's just going to be all out war. But I think that's what started the catalyst was Craster's baby. I also dig the theory that the Night King is Bran in the future. Like, I'm sure you guys have heard that theory. One of the most popular theories. I could totally see Bran being Bran the Builder, the Night King, all the other brands. I could see our Bran being all the other brands, and he somehow found a way to travel through his thoughts, whatever, however the heck you want to say it. Like when he shouted out at his father when he was going up to the tower. I could see that being all connected in some way. But I could also see the Night King being the Bran theory working out somehow. Love your theory. Thank you, Sarah. I love how for the past half hour, this was basically a Game of Thrones stream. Hey, I will talk about whatever you guys want to talk about. And I love Game of Thrones. So if it happens, it happens. Like, basically, a solid number of you have been in here a while. And if that's what you want to hear, by all means. I don't got to talk about Shazam and Pet Sematary. I could do it in another stream. Maybe, see, I actually was hesitant on even doing Shazam and Pet Sematary because I saw it yesterday, but there's only so much I could talk about without spoiling it. And I'm willing to bet, have any of you seen either of them? My guess is no, because I went to the premiere yesterday. Maybe some of you are going tonight. Maybe some of you are going this weekend, but maybe I should hold off on that till next week so we could actually talk about it instead of having you guys hear me spoil things or just be like, it was good. Honestly, they were both very good. I will say this about Pet Sematary. Without spoiling anything, the ending is different. And I thought the original was better as a whole, but a lot of things were changed and the ending specifically. And I thought the ending of the new one was better than the original. Much cooler. I won't ruin anything. No spoilers, but definitely I thought it was a better ending. And I still thought it was a very good movie. John Lithgow was the movie, though. The little girl, her name's Ella, the little girl and John Lithgow were the best in the movie. The wife, the mother, phenomenal as well. I can't remember her name. Amy Smets or something like that. She was phenomenal too. The character who is the most important character is the father. I don't mind the actor. I don't love him. I can't remember his name, but he's in a bunch of stuff. The actor from Pet Sematary who plays the father is in it the most by far and is probably the most boring. He's not a bad actor. He just, I don't know. Like, I just didn't like, I believed him and stuff. Like, I believed his character. I followed it and everything, but something about it, like, I just didn't buy it. Everyone else was great. The daughter, the little boy who's like 3 years old is phenomenal as a child actor. He barely could talk. Great. John Lithgow, amazing. Everyone was great, but I didn't dig the father. And the father is like 80% of the movie. So like, that was like my one negative about that. I have not seen either movie yet. Just wanted to jump on and say hello. Yeah, I'm not going to, I mean, unless you guys want to talk about it, I won't talk much more about those movies. Let's go back to where I missed all that shit for the baby. Oh, wait, did I miss any comments? Let me go back. If Danny dies, yeah, we saw that. White Walker's connection, we saw that. Joffrey, Gilly, time jump. 1,000 years in the future, and the White Walkers are all Cylons? What are Cylons? Am I reading that wrong, Ray? Am I not understanding it? What are Cylons? I know that word, Cylons. Is that from something like Star Trek that I don't know? Or am I just not realizing? What are Cylons? I agree. I think that's because Joffrey was a spoiled brat and Ramsay went through some shit. Very good, Jess. You are correct. I didn't think I was. I mean, I probably thought of that at some point, but I wasn't thinking. But yeah, Ramsay definitely went through some shit and Joffrey was a spoiled brat. Qyburn. Oh, Cylons from Battlestar Galactica. Never seen Battlestar Galactica, guys. I have heard it is on many of my friends' top 10s of all time. Never seen it. I never even seen the movie, believe it or not. I own toys though, which is weird. Because I was very into science fiction as a child. I definitely have Battlestar Galactica toys, so I know the old school robots and stuff like that. Never seen it though. Never seen Battlestar Galactica. Qyburn has been controlling the walkers this whole time to kill all his enemies and take the throne. See, that's not a bad theory. I just don't think. I mean, I know you might be joking, Snow, but I don't think Qyburn's stretches that far yet. But I could totally see that going that way once they are confronted with him. It's just Qyburn is so far away from them. Qyburn would have to have the most OP powers ever to control them. But you're probably joking somewhat. But I could totally see Qyburn taking shit over. Yeah, yeah. I could. I knew you were joking because you are smart, and that sounds too outlandish. But I totally see Qyburn having some sort of effect on them at some point. Why else would they have him recreate the mountain unless he grabbed him on the threshold of death and now he's just like not quite like the whites and the White Walkers? I heard that the same dude who directed Hard Home and the Battle of the Bastards will also be directing Battle of Winterfell and other that is correct, Steph. I can confirm you are correct on that. Battle of the Bastards. I'm not sure if Hard Home and Battle of the Bastards are the same. You might be right. That I'm not sure. But Battle of the Bastards director is doing the Battle of Winterfell. And it was 30 days of shooting. And I just watched a show on it, and they said they purposely made them like they held back food and wouldn't let them shower. The actors I'm talking, they said that they were like doing like 10-hour shoots, grueling weather, not feeding them as much, intentionally making them look the part. Like the actors are just beaten and starving and tired just for added effect on that scene. I expect Battle of Winterfell to be the greatest battle in like television and movie history. If we talk about epic battles, I would say Last Samurai had great ones. Gladiator had great ones. Braveheart. There's a lot of war movies that had great battle scenes, like The Patriot. Like all these different, most historical movies that are based on truth have amazing battle sequences. This is fantasy. Lord of the Rings. I don't know how I missed Lord of the Rings. Helm's Deep. Yeah, Alan thought it just when I was thinking it. All the Lord of the Rings. That was the most comparing I can think of to this. Because Lord of the Rings is the most epic fantasy battles I can ever imagine. And this is going to trump those. Like, oh my God, I can't even imagine. Like, I'm trying to think of like other things I've seen that might trump it. I remember seeing something recently. I saw something recently that I was like, this is amazing battle sequence. And it wasn't Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings. What the hell was I watching? I don't know. But it was great. I'll think of it at some point, but it was great. I have not seen either movie yet. We saw that already. What Jay never watched Battlestar? Yeah, from Battle Cylons are from Battlestar. I haven't seen either yet, but excited for Pet Sematary. Definitely recommend it if you're a horror fan. If you're not a horror fan, I don't think you'll like Pet Sematary. I mean, that might be obvious, but some Stephen King movies adaptations are not solely for horror fans. Some are psychological, some are thrillers, some are dramas. If you're not a horror fan, I would not recommend Pet Sematary. It's like it's an hour and 45 minutes. The first hour is almost pandering to the audience, where you're like, I was literally sitting there like looking at the time like, all right, guys, I get it. Let's go. We're running out of time. The last 40 minutes, phenomenal. But if you're not a horror fan, you won't dig it. And they basically were like doing like, hey guys, you see this? It's a water bottle. You see that? It's a water bottle. You see this? Guys, water bottle. That's basically what Pet Sematary was. They're treating the audience like they're idiots. So I would recommend it for horror fans, but the last 40 minutes, phenomenal. And the ending, I thought, was far better than the original, even though I think the original as a whole is amazingly well done. Horrifying movie. This was very horrifying as well, but most of it was jump scares, which I expected. Pet Sematary, a lot of jump scares. But yes, Battlestar Galactica, I've never seen it. And I've had many of my friends, one of my best friends has it on, of all shows, top of his list, number one Battlestar Galactica. But is there like I think he meant the I feel the one like I think her name's Katie Sackhoff. Is she the one from Battlestar Galactica? Katie Sackhoff? Or am I saying that wrong? I feel like that's who it is. That's the one that is his favorite because I think there's different Battlestar Galacticas. Yeah, Katie Sackhoff. Okay. Is that the good one you guys are talking about? Or are you talking about an older one or a newer one? His is number one favorite show of all time, the Katie Sackhoff Battlestar Galactica. So if that's the one you guys are talking about, I'm going to show you guys something. Bear with me for 1 second. It's on my shelf. You guys are going to laugh when you see this because this is probably a collector's item like no other. Katie Sackhoff was in the reboot series. That's the good one. Ready for this, guys? Look at this. The HD. Oh, there's glare. How do I get the glare off? The HD DVD. I own the sealed box set of Battlestar Galactica with Katie Sackhoff on the cover in HD DVD. Who in the world do you know has the HD DVD box set sealed? It's because when HD DVD came out, I was the first to jump on board with the Xbox adapter one. And I bought this when it came out, and then HD DVD went down and no one gave a shit. And I've never opened this. I have literally, and I have, Alan's joking. Jay's DH. Maybe he's not joking. Maybe he knows me very well. I own when HD DVD went under, everyone was blowing out their HD DVDs for dollars. Like you could buy, like this was like $5. The entire set on HD DVD, $5. You could literally every store, Circuit City was going out of business. The Wiz, all those Fifth Avenue Electronics. If you guys are my age, you know what I'm talking about. All the electronic companies were going out of business, including that's when Best Buy kind of took over. Circuit City, Fifth Avenue, The Wiz, a lot of PC Richards, they were all going out of business. Everyone liquidated their HD DVDs. I probably own like 200 to 300 HD DVDs, and half of them are still boxed because then Blu-ray took off and I bought them all again on Blu-ray. So ones like this, I've never seen your collection. My fam has a Laserdisc collection. Do you even have? I have two, Steph. I have two HD DVD players. I have one actual HD DVD player that is packed away somewhere. And then I have the adapter that I still have set up right here. That is Xbox 360 came out with a little one that plugged right into the back HD DVD. And it literally is hooked up to my Xbox 360 under here that I haven't played in 20 years. So I have it. But now you want to see something even more funny, guys? I have two of them sealed. Because when they went on sale, I was like, maybe someone I know will want one day and have an HD DVD player. I have two of them. I might even have a third for all I know. I don't even know, but I just bought everything HD DVD because they were dollars. Ridiculous. So I have two box sets of it on a format no one watches and I've never seen the show. Who has that, guys? This is what Jay does. Jay just collects things for silly reasons. But I thought that was hilarious that it's been sitting on my shelf over there. I want to say maybe 8 years. They've both been sitting on the shelf. Ridiculous. But I just have tons of this stuff. I told you guys, I have tens of thousands. I probably have 4,000 or 5,000 DVDs, around 1,000 Blu-rays, hundreds of HD DVDs. I am a crazy movie fan. I do not it's just too much to watch. The only reason I haven't watched it is just too much to watch. Nothing beats Helm's Deep. Totally agreed. Helm's Deep is pretty damn good. The best Stephen King adaptations are usually the non-horror ones like The Stand. Oh, like Stand By Me, The Stand. Stand By Me, Shawshank Redemption might be my top 10 of all time. Love Shawshank Redemption. Absolutely brilliant. I compared a lot of things to The Wire to Shawshank Redemption because of the whole prison feel when they get out and stuff. Love Shawshank Redemption. Katie Sackhoff was in the reboot series. That's a good one. It ain't a real stream until it's a chair stream. Oh, that's when I got up and got the movies. I have the player. Yes. Laserdisc collection. Laserdisc was something I never did get into. I think that was right before my love of movies, but I have VHS. I mean, look, I have VHS. I think Laserdisc was just where at a point in my life where I didn't have money and I was too young to collect it because they were expensive. But DVDs were when I was in high school and I had a job, and Blu-ray came out when I was like after college, maybe in college. So I had money and I just bought everything. So I never really had much of Laserdiscs, but I mean, I've definitely seen them, obviously. Haha, 2 of them, you gotta watch them someday. I will definitely watch them. I will have a specific I mean, now that I'm reminiscing to my HD DVD collection, I will definitely do, like, maybe I'll do, like, a watch along or something with my HD DVD box set of Battlestar Galactica. It'll come in handy when Jay slides into an alternate universe where yep, see, that's the thing. One day when the Mandela effect continues and we collide universes, HD DVD, it's going to be like the Bernstein and the Bernstein Bears. We're going to have one day we're all just going to be watching HD DVD and someone's going to be like 20 years from now, hey, didn't we watch Blu-rays? And someone's going to be like, no, you idiot. We've always watched HD DVD. Just like we watched the Bernstein Bears. Best reasons to collect stuff is silly reasons. I'd have to agree. If you ever do watch BSG, Battlestar Galactica, make sure you watch the miniseries before season 1. I don't know if that's included on the HD DVD. Let's see, Steph. I don't know what the hell it's saying. Relive all 13 thrilling episodes. One of the best shows of all time. Relive 13 episodes plus the 4-hour miniseries. It says plus. Is that what you're talking about, Steph? All 13 episodes plus the 4-episode miniseries is in this. If that's what you're talking about, then I got it all. And you're saying I should watch the miniseries first? Because it's on here if it is. I mean, if you're saying that. My uncle has a huge vinyl collection and he gave me a good amount of records. Neither of us. Yes, good. You're covered then. All right. So miniseries first, Steph says. Gave me a good amount of records. Neither of us have a record player. I do my job is construction, but I mainly do house cleanouts, estate cleanouts. I am like the got junk guy. I just dispose of things, but when I find things of interest, I save them. I probably have thousands of vinyl records. My sister, I give them most to her. My sister, who is 8 years younger than me, collects vinyl. She loves vinyl. She actually bought a retro, like a new record player that's like looks retro, and she listens to records on occasion, and she has quite the collection from either herself or from jobs I've done, but we have hundreds, maybe thousands. Yes, good. You're covered then. The mini series sets everything up. All right. I'm actually kind of excited now. Maybe I'll set up my HD DVD player and watch them at some point soon. But I've been talking for almost 2.5 hours, guys. I've caught up to the comments, and it looks like I just got my usual group here. I want to buy a record player eventually. Nothing beats vinyl and sound. Snow, I definitely recommend if you want a record player. I definitely recommend looking up the newer retro ones. The quality sound like they basically use modern technology with old technology. My sister listens to them all the time. They're not even expensive. I think she bought it for like 50 to 80 bucks. Looks gorgeous, has a nice wood finish, and I highly recommend you buy it. The sound, there is nothing like the sound. Like, see, like it's something about that flawed quality. Like every now and then I'll even listen to cassettes or stuff like that, but vinyl's in another league because the way it was recorded on vinyl, it's nothing like it. It's not the same to compare it to cassettes or 8 tracks or something like that. Vinyl just was recorded in a way that sounds so unique. There will always be something endearing about physical media. I totally agree. I very rarely buy digital media, guys. I mean, I watch Netflix. I have all the streaming channels and stuff like that. But if I buy something, if I spend money, not counting subscription fees, but if I buy something, I usually always get physical copies. I like collections. Even if it's not worth anything, it's for myself. I'm not trying to resell it. And honestly, I don't need the money. I just want the physical copy of stuff. Hence, so I can show you. See, if I had the digital copy of Battlestar Galactica on HD DVD, you guys wouldn't see it. It would just be a thing on a computer I couldn't show you. This is funny. Look, 10 years ago, did I know I'd be doing YouTube and showing you guys my HD DVDs? No, but it's hilarious now. How many different versions of Star Wars came out on VHS again? Whew. I own them all, Alan. I have the original. Then there was the remade box set, which wasn't the special edition. Then there was the collector's edition. Then there was the special edition that added in the Jabba the Hutt stuff and like all the weird stuff that looked kind of bad. Then there was that was all VHS. I have them all on VHS. Then they had the DVDs. Then they had the original DVDs. Then they had I have VCD. I have Star Wars on VCD in my closet. You guys want to see that? I could get it too. It's literally in my closet right there. I don't know if you've heard of VCD. VCD was before DVD. I think it was around maybe the same time as Laserdisc. VCD. I have the entire Star Wars box set on VCD. It was like $180 when it came out because it was like the greatest way to view it at the time. It was the size of a disc, like a DVD, and the quality was like flawless, and you could like skip scenes like a DVD. So expensive. But I have so many formats of Star Wars. It's ridiculous. I have it on Blu-ray. I have it on DVD. I have it on VCD. I don't have it on Laserdisc is probably the only thing I don't have it on. I always buy a lot of streaming movies and shows, but only because I live in a house that's smaller than 500 square feet and running out of space. I totally get it. If you can't like fit it, like I literally have an attic that is the size of my house. So there is I wish I didn't have that size an attic because now I just collect everything and it's ridiculous. Half of it I can't, like some people saw my Magic the Gathering video and they're asking me to buy my cards. I don't mind selling them because I don't play and I haven't in 20 years, but they're probably at the back end of the attic. It will take me 20 years to get to it. Tons of the bootleg China stuff was on VCD. I remember that. A lot of the stuff I used to, when I was a kid, I would go to flea markets and the flea markets would sell bootleg like martial arts movies and anime and stuff. And I would buy them on VCD. I'm off to bed. See y'all. Looking forward to more with the snow. Have a good one. I'm going to wrap it up too, guys, because I've caught up to the comments. We're going to narrow down to like 5 of us. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I really appreciate you guys watching. We didn't talk much about Shazam, but we did talk about Pet Sematary. But hey, I want to talk about what you guys want to talk about. And as you could see, I could talk for hours. So there's no lack of things for me to talk about. So I appreciate you guys. Steph, you're a gem. Snow, I love it. I don't know who's still in here. Alan, Ray, Mom, Jess, whoever else is still in here. Peace. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care, guys.